Doesn't matter what I do, people just keep yapping. Saying I was carried on my last team. That I'm a one trick.
Mid laner maybe can play less than 3 champion.
That I could never live up to our team's legacy. And the noise doesn't stop there. They say Blabber's washed.
There's Blabber going in for the Cyclone, killing Demasu.
Like the best jungler NA's ever seen just forgot how to win. They say that Sven and Vulcan already had their run.
Kill him! The Pocket Lulu!
They say that Thanatos won't survive here.
Thanatos chases Gak.
But lately, when we type, you don't type back.
Ah, forgot to mute APA.
It gets real quiet when Cloud9 finishes the conversation.
Cloud9 roars to life!
It's almost like there's nothing left for them to say. Because Cloud9 has shut everyone up.
You win enough, and people get tired of you. The conversation shifts from who you are to who you used to be.
You were talking about, oh, are they living up to expectations? That was some real MVP stuff showing up on stage.
Former MVPs.
The finals MVP in his rookie year.
Past champions. Like we are highlights.
Fighting a 1v1 right now, and he likes those odds.
Like we are history.
Double kill to Saint! Quadra kill to Saint!
Like dominance was just a phase.
Flying over the wall for miles!
And LYON, this name struck fear for years, when playoff brackets bent around us.
LYON Gaming, 9 veces campeón de Latinoamérica.
You can call it the past if that makes it easier.
Lion!
But when LYON roars again,
Roll the river!
it won't sound nostalgic. It will sound inescapable.
Riot Games Arena, welcome to Demacia! LYON has dethroned preseason favorites Team Liquid, then silenced the rising Sentinels. Now they face the most dominant force in lock-in, a team that has lost only a single game, Cloud9. Will C9 lift their first trophy since spring of 2023, or will it be LYON's first trophy ever in the LCS? C9, LYON, the lock-in final starts now.
Marching in the lower bracket to make it all the way to C9 to try to go to first stand.
And trying to keep his top laner alive. Griffin jumps in, so does Matu. Double kill to Saint as he'll shuffle away. Quadra kill to Saint. Flash forward from Dokla. He fancies himself the first blood solo kill.
Berserker stands, Berserker fires, Berserker wins. LYON are on a roll, and it's up to Cloud9 to stop them.
Sven looking for the damage, trying to find Huhi, gets one kill. Hambot goes after Sven, but he can't kill him! It's a triple kill for Sven.
The Scuttlecraft fight is actually happening.
Oh man, they want to try to get in there as Griffin's going to be taken down to 200 HP. Blabber and the Crabbers get their job done.
How good are Cloud9?
A beautiful double binding coming out from Vulcan's Bard. Oh, it is not going that well at all. Another ulti there from Quid. Can't threaten anything lethal this time, and APA just runs him through with the spear. Nice solo kill.
We're hell on the run, but you got nowhere to go. It's a double for Berserker as he is going crazy. It's LYON off to a roaring start.
C9's not really intimidated by it, and now APA, he wants to shuffle, and he hits Quid. Blabber with the shutdown. C9 are going to continue rampaging through the LCS.
The Lions are ferocious. They are coming for that lock-in trophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Riot Games Arena here for our lock-in finals, best of 5, with LYON going up against C9. C9 have been favorites all throughout these first couple months of competition, but LYON have been looking fierce here lately.
They really have. I mean, they are killing it in the lower bracket. Only 2 losses, 9 wins in that lower bracket. LYON looking to upset some predictions here today against Cloud9, who definitely are still coming in as heavy favorites.
Yeah, I mean, you saw them sitting in their thrones at the beginning in the intro here, and they really have been waiting to see who is going to make it up here to challenge them. LYON have had to fight tooth and nail to get here. Very arduous journey up to challenge Cloud9, and now we'll see if there's a long best of 5 ahead of them.
And I think one of the real stories about LYON in this lower bracket is their drafting. Their drafting has been, I think, really, really strong, very surprising in a lot of cases. They're utilizing flex picks in a way that no other team in the LCS has been. Varus top, Aurelia top, they're bringing in the Orange jungle, they're bringing in the Vayne top, they're bringing in all of these picks that are making it so hard to draft against them.
And top lane has been a really, really big area for that battleground of the draft. Dokla, of course, has really stepped up to the challenge here for the team. The rest of the players also very flexible with their champions, but you do have to think every team when they're going against Cloud9 always have some plan to deal with Thanatos.
Well, coming into this finals weekend, Cloud9 could have had 3 possible opponents here waiting for them on Sunday, and every single possible opponent, C9 has already beaten in a series so far in lock-in. They beat LYON in a best of 3, they beat Team Liquid in a best of 3, they beat Sentinels in a best of 5, so now LYON has to find that secret sauce that nobody else has found thus far here in lock-in. We're already underway, and it's triple mid lane bans from LYON, the tried and true go after APA strategy, the Ziggs, the Taliyah, the Annie, all banned out. C9 getting rid of the Varus, the Pantheon, and the Nocturne. Azir, first pick over to LYON.
So LYON here already, of course, they opt for the Azir side with Nocturne being off the table. There's not the Orianna Nocturne combination available. And LYON want to supplement this Azir with a pushing bottom lane, which allows your jungler to go gank that Orianna mid. Ezreal and Karma will be completely fine by themselves in the bottom lane, so now they can get an aggressive jungler for Inspired to pair with this Azir and pressure the Orianna's flash.
And now the question is, do they go Nami here and try to match, fire with fire in that bot lane, or are they gonna, kind of break the parity in the roles so far? Nami, Corki, really strong 2v2, absolutely can challenge it, but instead they're putting the priority on the Ambessa. This is a flex pick. This could go to Blabber. I know he plays it a ton in solo queue, really likes it. Obviously, Thanatos also a stellar Ambessa player.
And I think that their bans will tell us which role it's going to go into. If they ban Renekton, then it's probably going to go into Thanatos' hands here because you don't want that lane matchup. But if they leave a lot of the top lane options open, then the flex becomes a little bit more apparent towards the jungle side. So, you're thinking about Rumble and you're thinking about Renekton, these types of things that can float around the top side, and they're banning jungle champs, so okay. I kind of smell jungle Ambessa here for Blabber.
This would be really exciting. I do think if you're going to go jungle Ambessa, having some point-and-click CC to set you up for that ultimate, entering into these fights with the public execution can be such a strong pairing. So possibly they don't want to ban Renekton because maybe they want to play Renekton, because Renekton and Ambessa can be a really strong 2v2. You go forward, stun them up, in comes that public execution, all of a sudden someone's getting knocked down.
And similarly, okay, so they do ban at least one of them, but they leave the Rumble open. So they could also say, okay, fine, you can have Rumble, and then they pick Galio, and you do Ambessa Galio combination. So there's so many layers with a couple of these champion selects, especially top lane and jungle flexibility.
But there's the Renekton ban that you guys were talking about at first. That's the one that you don't want to deal with in the 1v1 in top lane. So we are definitely keeping the full question mark pings of the flex pick in effect here in the second half of the draft. LYON has one more ban to go, and once more, they are going to target the support role. Different type of support, though, removing some of the point-and-click engage of the Nautilus as compared to the laning power of that Nami. So where do C9 want to go from here? We still need to see what that support is going to be.
Yeah, support for sure, because you want to keep the Ambessa flex like we're talking about, so you can move around if they do decide to go for Rumble, or if they decide to go for a tank on the opposite side, and then it makes it easy for you to go with that one. And the Nico, while it isn't the Nami, it is huge potential for team fights. and Vulcan has been very good with engages. So Nico CC, as well as being a strong lane here, looks pretty good for Cloud9, rounding it out while also keeping their flex alive.
And I love the fact that they're keeping that flex alive makes it harder for Dokla here too, right? Because Dokla has been willing to bring out some of these range counter picks. You can't slam a Vayne top and know that this could just get flexed away,
You
right?
can always slam Vayne top, Isaac. Come on.
But then you could ask for a remake.
It does not look good here.
No, it does not. And so it's, you're not going to be able to go for any sort of niche counter pick if you don't know for sure what you're playing against. So he has to be basically blinding here.
Yeah.
And as a result, you pretty much have to go towards a tank. K'Sante likely to be that option. It is a draft that is pretty light on engage. Of course, you do have, Meganar coming out, you have the Emperor's Divide, but there's no real go buttons. And I will say LYON to me yesterday looked a lot weaker in the drafts without those hard go buttons.
Okay.
Game 1, Game 2, where Inspired was playing Jarvan and Malphite, they looked really dominant overall. Game 3 and Game 4, it was a different story.
So this is interesting because you just mentioned the Malphite in the hands of Inspired. He's used it a whole bunch. If you use the Malphite takeaway here in game number 1, this is a very, very good fearless strategy from Cloud9, and it's just a good combo with Ambessa. This engage, Ambessa, Malphite, Nico, and Orianna. That is quite strong.
That's some go buttons for sure, and you mentioned it, Inspired has been playing it a lot. He is actually 3 of the 4 picks of Malphite in the LCS, so he is really the only guy who has been playing it consistently.
And he loves the, like everybody does, these efficient support tank items. He's been rushing both of them with the Protoplasm as well as the Zeke's Convergence. I expect Blabber to do the same. It's part of the power of this champion. Because it's not, ever since it got its nerfs, it's not, OP anymore, and that's why a lot of other people kind of dropped off playing it. But in pro play, you can just play around your R cooldown, and you can just buy these really cheap support tank items and have a huge amount of value for team fights for your team.
And the great thing is, these cheap support items all have a ton of CDR, so the ultimate cooldown is not that long.
So much of that Malphite is the unstoppable force, having that up and available as often as possible, and we'll see how effective Blabber can use it, taking it away from Inspired like y'all already talked about. It's time to head to the Rift for game number 1. C9 have a lot more ways to start the fights, but we know that LYON can pull out some pretty incredible team fighting of their own. We've seen all their comms replays with Inspired guiding the team, showing them exactly where they need to go and what they need to do, and they're going to have to be coordinated to deal with this combo potential on C9.
So Blabber and APA start out almost every game with typing good luck, have fun. I don't think this is just good sportsmanship. I think it is also a screen to see if you have them muted.
Well, Inspired, he's not getting Malphite, but this is why it is important. It has been taken away from him. This has been such a big pick for Inspired and LYON here, and he has been dominating it. I mean, just look at the KDA 9, 2, and 26. Has been incredible.
Yeah, that being said though, Xin is a champion here that he also uses very effectively, and Inspired will force a lot of plays early with Xin because it is so good at dueling, way more threat on this champion. And so in this game, with him actually pathing towards bottom side, towards this pushing Ezreal and Karma here, I expect there to be some options for him to go aggressive.
All right, as the laning phase has kicked off, we've got Emily standing by for an interview with APA's mom.
Thank you so much, Flowers. I am here with Stacey, APA's mom, who has come out to see her son perform in the LCS finals. So congratulations, first of all, another finals for him. How are you feeling? I heard you just got back from a cruise, too, and then flew directly here?
We didn't fly. The cruise was out of Long Beach, so we just came up today, yes.
Does not know how cruises work. That's me. So how it's now been an entire split, with C9. How would you rate just overall your son's performance in terms of fitting on this team?
I think his performance has been excellent this year, and I think he fits on the team very well.
And then additionally, he's been so successful since he stepped onto this stage. What have you done kind of behind the scenes to support him in that?
I think we've always supported him. We've supported him for years behind the scenes, and we'll always support him.
That's awesome. So there was a call out that you did on Twitter where I was using this giant head of your son as a prop. So now I'm going to give it to you to cheer him on today. And I have heard we have a game pause. So we're going to throw it back to the casters to see what's up with that.
Thank you, Emily. And yeah, we do have a pause, but Hopefully, we'll be able to get you any information about that pretty quickly. A lot of cosplayers here today. We got Garen and Lux on stage. We got a bunch of cosplayers in the audience as well. It's great to see everyone here for LCS Finals.
I like that Heimerdinger stash. That is looking good.
It's natural. It's not actually it's not a prop.
We got a packed house here. We also had a really fun timeout in the parking lot with the pre-game there, and getting to hear from a lot of the fans. I think you have an update, Flowers, possibly?
Yes, I just heard from producers. They are investigating a potential APA mouse issue. Pretty hard to play mid lane if your mouse doesn't work, so we're going to get to the bottom of this, hopefully resolve any issues there with that, and get back into game ASAP.
I will say, he was doing a good job even despite the mouse issues, because you could hear during Emily's interview, the crowd was making huge noise for every cannon minion and CS that Saint was missing as APA was pushing him into the tower. So, starting out pretty well despite the issues, and hopefully we can get those resolved very quickly for him here. Emily was also asking, what do you do behind the scenes to support APA? Maybe bring a bunch of extra mice to his games.
There you go.
So you got them ready.
You got the backups ready to go.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about C9 and why they are such a big favorite coming into this. I mean, they have been absolutely killing it this split. This is the team that I think, coming in, people were mostly putting C9 or TL at the top, but TL and LYON, did have some struggles early on in this Swiss stage, and C9 has just been crushing it. So 12-1 is their win-loss. 2-0 last time they did play against LYON. This team has not only been beating everyone, they've been crushing everyone. Very few of the games have even looked close. And so coming into this weekend, before this weekend, everyone I was talking to is saying, oh yeah, TL versus LYON could be close. We don't know what's going to happen against Sentinels, but then C9's going to win, right? And I do think that story has changed somewhat as we have seen LYON play over the course of this weekend. They were able to really pretty much dominate TL. Then they looked good yesterday against Sentinels. They showed us all these new unique tricks in the draft, and I think that has kind of changed the story and made people look at LYON as more of a legitimate contender here against Cloud9, despite the fact that Cloud9 has been so good this split.
LYON is definitely the non-Cloud9 team of the four heading into this weekend that leveled up the most. Their improvements are legitimate. They're an exciting team to watch. Those counter picks that you're talking about add so much flavor to this team and the way that they want to play the game.
Yeah, it's been multifold, the improvements that we've seen from LYON. It has been in draft, it has been in game with their coordination around team plays and knowing what they want to go for, and it's been individual performances that have been a lot better, especially Saint, that everyone has been talking about and has had much better performances. So we'll see if LYON can continue their success, because they have had the much more difficult journey here, playing these back-to-back elimination series and having to prep over and over for a new opponent each day.
Yeah, I like that you bring up Saint improving throughout the playoffs, because looking at APA coming into the year, I think everybody realized that last year was a bit of a downturn for APA. So to see him bounce back here at the start of 2026 has been great. Meanwhile, Saint was generating a lot of buzz last year himself, only to start off 2026 with underwhelming performances. Now really starting to sharpen those edges up here in playoffs. I think this mid lane head-to-head is super exciting.
It really is, right? And it's not the mid lane head-to-head I think people were talking about. People were talking about, Quid and Quad and these guys, I think, even a little bit more. And Zinni, the hype from him, but the improvements from APA I think have been very recognizable. Obviously got replaced on TL. TL is not here in finals. APA is, and he has been killing it and really just gelling well with the team. A lot of the C9 members have talked a ton about how vocal he is, about how his shot calling is making a big difference as well.
Thanatos putting the pressure onto Dokla up here as he reverts back to Mininar. Both of these top laners are so exciting as well. Dokla with his counter picks, with his creativity in the role, and Thanatos just being this dominant laner who's also willing to accept that challenge. When one throws down the gauntlet, the other will immediately be ready.
Yeah, and Thanatos on Mbessa especially is one of the most fearsome top lane carry threats in all of the LCS. Last year, this was terrifying. Nobody would want to let this happen. So we'll see if he is able to do that in this game. Mid lane trading very low.
Yeah, APA down to 100 HP. Saint flashes forward. Flash out from APA. Both mid laners, no flashes, no mana, 100 HP.
And usually that favors the Azir, because you're close to your level 6. You can go for Azir sweep. It's a much more mobile champion. So that's why Saint, he knows, yeah, this is not a kill angle, but I'm going to make you trade 1-for-1 on flashes. And guess what? Inspired can come really early. This is before junglers are level 6, so we'll see about the next grab.
Though.
It's a level 5 Malphite ganking Dokla right now.
All right, Dokla only has 3/4 of an R-bar. A lot of burst coming out. Public execution flashed out by Dokla to stay alive.
Nice little angle there from Blabber. This is something that I love when Malphite players mix in, because everyone just thinks about champions like this and Nocturne as they're not going to do anything except farm until 6. So sometimes you can find these angles where you walk in, you force a flash, and you don't really have to commit anything to do that.
And talking about kill pressure, and Bessa kill pressure, the ultimate is a very good trade for the flash of the Gnar. You can use that to constantly pressure in lane. So now, if that top lane is left isolated, Thanatos will have big pressure next time around that his ultimate does spawn. Crab is on the bottom side though, and we are always talking about this 6-minute Crab for the level 6 because Blabber goes top side. And because he knows, all right, you've got the Ezreal Karma constantly pushing, you're probably going to have the bot side Scuttle Crab anyway. Inspired does get the critical one. He gets to that level 6, and he takes the vision, so you expect there to be some setup for Dragon.
Yeah, we've seen flashes forced in both the solo lanes, but bottom lane has the biggest individual advantage. Berserker at 67 CS compared to only the 52 of Sven. This is the power of putting the priority early in the draft on the Ezreal and Karma combo. But now LYON trying to make sure that Inspired can get away with stealing this blue buff from Blabber, as Blabber will just try to finish his Gromp here, grab his own level 6. He hits the mark, but Inspired got what he came for.
Yep, and he's using that leverage off the pushing bottom lane. So Vulcan just went for a reset here on the Nico, coming right back out. Nobody go, wait a second, no flash on Saint.
There goes Blabber immediately for the unstoppable force onto Saint, who just shuffles him backwards, denies any further damage, and walks back to safety.
Nicely done there by Saint, because that is something I wanted to talk about, is that, normally it is always so much in the favor of Azir when you get both flashes down on these mid laners, but flash is very important against Malphite. Unfortunately, APA didn't have his ulti, and that was the big difference. APA used the shockwave to push out that previous wave when he wanted to go for a reset. If you have the shockwave there, I think Saint is dead to rights, but they thought they could get it without that.
And I think the necessary response is going to be, after Inspired finishes up his topside camps, now LYON know, with no Malphite ultimate, they have some pretty good setup around that area of a map. But Blabber actually sneaks back in.
He's still waiting now. The shockwave is ready to go. APA stepping forward, immediate point-blank range on the shockwave. The second time's the charm, and it's first blood over to APA.
Who said it's not scary just walking at them? And the Azir goes into the Orianna, so APA can just hit the shockwave, and they get the kill in the aftermath.
Wait, we gotta show chat, because after that first gank that failed, Saint hit them with the question mark. So Saint hit them with the question mark after the failed gank, and then immediately gets first blooded, and C9 are active in chat after that. So Saint was getting busy, they're getting him back. This is just the play one more time. It's just a shockwave on the head, and nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, love it. I mean, the wraparound Malphite gank, after he already used ult on you, yeah, Saint's not expecting it. He's like, I already dealt with it. And so he has the confidence, fine, I can just go in for these trades once again. But that is not the case.
No.
Wait, what did you do, Isaac?
This was not my request.
This is straight from production.
The dynamic duo Blappa. Oh yes, it's the Blappa duo. Of course, it's Blabber and APA. This is the new duo name.
Nice Picasso work that they the production
that was
did.
beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Knockwave, you guys are on board with.
Yeah.
Zahungle, I know Flowers loves, and so now it's Blappa.
So Zahungle, I'm out. Blappa.
You have said Zahungle more than I have said Zahungle, so you're in. You just don't want to admit it.
I also play it. But I am down with the Blappa because even APA actually last night he tweeted out Blappa duo with so APA and Blabber are.
It's a canon event.
Oh yeah,
okay.
They are fully on board, and that duo striking first here, it really just is fitting because one of the biggest stories for Cloud9 obviously is APA joining the roster, and the synergy that everyone has talked about, this mid jungle has really been on point. It's been one of the things that has shined the brightest here for Cloud9. So they get their first blood off of it, and that's going to turn into Dragon for them as they rotate over. And you have the 3 grubs, and the alert goes to the top side, but 3 grubs don't do a whole lot, and Cloud9 would love to stack Dragons.
You guys are with me on Blappa. Now hear me out. How about Sinspired?
What?
come on, that's pretty good.
I mean, it's not that bad.
It's one letter of one dude's name and the whole other dude's name.
It sounds cool. That's the important part.
That's not. No, I can't get on board with that. There's not enough
Saint
parity
just
there.
gets the S.
Bro,
It's all he gets.
Honestly, I think that is fitting because Inspired is such a huge part of the duo. Since he shot calls everything, you know, he can
earn some more letters.
Yeah, you can get your whole name in there.
Well, he's going to have to be watching those letters because they're above a health bar that only has 100 HP left in it right now as APA is putting on the pressure here in the mid lane. Inspired will just be clearing out his chicken camp. There's not an opportunity to come in and try to punish APA's aggressive play because Saint is so low, he has to immediately recall.
Now, this is one of these things that is so nice about the Malphite jungle. We talked about it. Zeke's complete. You get that early item completion because it is so cheap. You get the ulti CDR. And also, the Zeke slow stacks with the Malphite Q. I don't know if that's an intentional interaction, but that is why we saw in the Syndra game yesterday where Inspired was playing it, where the Syndra just could not move when you get hit by the Zeke slow plus the Malphite Q.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's not supposed to be that way because slows usually just overwrite and the strongest one.
I'm assuming too.
Strongest one takes priority. But you mentioned, oh yeah, this is so cheap, this support item. Guess what? Thanatos got his first item the same time too. And that Eclipse on top side is getting used.
Yup, he's immediately diving in with a public execution as Dokla tries to get away. Narbar is nearly charged, and Dokla's still got 40% HP left in the tank, but he does not want to pursue this any further. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Thanatos is such a powerful and aggressive laner, but now in the bottom side river, hold on, Lion stepping forward, looking to maybe challenge C9 to a team fight. Berserker's Ezreal is very strong right now. Remember, he has been farming so effectively in these first 11.5 minutes of gameplay, but it looks like neither side is going to opt for the fight.
Yeah, it was all about the crab, Flowers. Yeah, there's no dragon down there, but you know, in a Cloud9 game, we're going for crabs.
But it's a shockwave immediately into the follow-up from Blabber, and Saint just barely gets away again. APA can't quite catch up. Both ultis spent this time. The combo is there, but it's only 99% of Saint's HP.
I'll bet that there's going to be no, all chat after that one, though. He's going to remain focused, get right back to base because he was punished last time around. And you're still punished. Even though APA doesn't get the kill, turret plate money, it's one of the nice things about this new season. You can always get these guaranteed little increments of extra gold. And APA here does cash in again. Although, it's not the worst back timing for Saint. He finishes Nashers anyway.
And you can see it is almost 1,000 gold lead in mid lane regardless, right? So yes, they did only get that one kill. They would have loved to take down Saint those other times too, but he is missing out on minions. He's missing out on plates every time he does go back. And that True Shot Barrage, a split second too late to interrupt APA's base.
Yeah, mid lane quest completed earlier for APA. Very nice. Get your empowered recall, get out of there in time. And Berserker rotated into mid lane. This duo for Lion, we've been mentioning, has been doing their job the whole game, creating that bot lane pressure, pushing in, allowing Inspired to do a little bit of counter jungling, not a lot, but at least a little bit there. And Berserker has been quite good on Ezreal in Lion's run.
So I'm glad that you bring up Berserker moving into the mid lane. We're starting to see some rotations, some different assignments right now, but we've got about 90 seconds on the clock until the Dragon spawns, and the Herald only spawns very shortly after that. Do we expect to see a challenge at Drake number 2, or do we expect it to just be another handshake like Dragon 1 and the Grubs were?
I think it's just going to be a handshake. I mean, Lion, based on how they've been playing, I think they have been very willing to give up objectives to try to play for side lane gold, so I think that is going to be the look. It's also just very difficult if they don't have that space controlled first. They have no real engage buttons, right? So if you're trying to walk into Fog here and you don't know where Nico is, you don't know where Malphite is, it is going to be almost impossible to approach. So unless we see them set up really early, I think they'll just play sides and try to get some gold.
That being said, they do have mid lane priority with the early move from Berserker as well as Isles. The Ezreal Karma keeps up its push. So they have taken over. You can see on the mini-map, they took over the ward coverage and they chunked Vulcan hard.
Yeah, Vulcan's down to 500 HP. He tries to get away. The True Shot Barrage is not going to kill him, but Inspired surely is. He chases after him, and the wind becomes lightning, strikes him down. Now Sven versus Berserker is also going to go Lion's way. It's a pick on the enemy support. Vulcan will be back alive in time for the Drake, but he still has to run all the way back down here as Lion find their first kill 14 minutes in.
This is why every pro player is always talking about mid lane priority. It allows Isles to get in there, clear out the vision, and Inspired, you saw him on the minimap. He reset out of mid lane lane, straight down to that mid lane, waiting in the brush, jumps on Isles, and gets them a huge advantage.
But I think the funny part about this is that lost them the Dragon, going for that pick, because now there's no Crescent Guard on Inspired. Vulcan held his Pop Blossom the whole time, and Blabber held his ultimate the whole time. Even though you do get this kill, that is a nice injection of gold, you can't take the team fight without ultimate on Inspired. So here is Vulcan face checking, gets caught, does get chased down and killed off, but in the picture-in-picture, Lion's not even going to try to contest here, despite the fact that they had that kill, because they were missing critical ultimates, and C9 held onto theirs.
Yeah, Inspired needs to remain.
Malphite was here and didn't use anything. And I used Flash ult, and Nico didn't use ult, just Flash.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was talking about. They just knew, he says, yeah, great, I got the kill, but they have ultis, so if we go, we'll just int. So you have to be willing to give that up, and I think it was so smart. Most Nikos, I think, panic Pop Blossom there and just die anyway. And Vulcan says, sure, you killed me, but you used everything. I'll just save mine for the fight.
And Lion have shown over and over throughout this lower bracket run, they are fine giving up early dragons. Maybe this bottom side, though, under attack.
Yep, Pop Blossom onto Saint right there. Blabber's ready to follow it up, but Saint flashes away. Now C9 finds themselves overextended, and Blabber is trapped behind enemy lines. Lion's ready to reinforce with Dokla. Thanatos arrives, but he's already too late. The party's over. Shockwave guarantees the rest of C9 get away, but an over-eager dive ends up more money in Lion's pockets.
So many times, Lion have given up early dragons in favor of gold here in the early stages, and while they do give up the dragon, they defend the play on bottom side. Teleports come out from both top laners, and they are there to defend Saints. Nice little pushback as well. It does cost the Azir the flash, though, so maybe that cooldown will get punished in the future.
Saint has been so good at getting away from a lot of these plays, though. That is 3 or 4 times this game where he's able to just barely escape. Blabber didn't have his flash, so I just don't think he could maybe get in range perfectly to CC chain. No, he could have gone early. I think he was just trying to wait too long. He was trying to have no overlap at all, so he held the ulti to try to wait the last second, misjudged it a bit, went a bit late. That allowed Saint to flash it. Whether or not it would have changed the fight, I don't think they would have had the damage to kill him, but you know, definitely could have ulted a little bit earlier.
A little bit of a tragedy there for C9, but Lion will happily take it. They're up almost 1,000 gold as a team. The biggest individual advantage there being for Inspired on that jungle. Xin does have his Sundered Sky completed, getting close to the second item completion now as well. And he and the rest of Lion have control over the top side river. Saint is there helping DPS the Rift Herald down, and Lion's going to secure the objective.
Ben, one of the things on display from this Lion squad is their discipline. Every time we get to listen in on the comms, it is Inspired talking for 90% of it, laying out the marching orders for the next 5-10 minutes sometimes. And they are so focused on keeping their economy up in these early stages and building it towards mid-game team fights. So we are almost at that stage where people are working on their second items at the moment.
Okay. I also like how you bring up Inspired's comms, how he's the shot caller, he's the leader, he's the one who's always talking. We'll see if Lion can get away from this one, though, as C9 looking for the dive on the Mega Gnar, and they chop Dokla down. Now with the Pop Blossom setting up the second one. Isles could also be in danger. Vulcan and Thanatos continue their chase, and the Blooming Burst takes Isles out of the picture. C9 pick up 2.
I mean, that time the combo was perfect. As soon as Dokla went forward with that crunch, he instantly gets ulted by the Malphite, then ulted by the Ambessa, burst down by C9. They get the tower, they get 2 kills, they reclaim the gold lead ever so slightly here, and they're going to be so happy about how that play worked out.
Yep, and then the payment on the other side of the map, Rift Herald used up there, Saint pushing in, trying to get more money on the Azir, but Cloud9, they retake the gold lead.
We need
in. We should dive out, we should dive out.
Okay, I'm going to dive this way. Okay, HP.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm walking up.
I'm not coming, guys.
Yeah. I'm looking, guys. Yeah, I'm looking.
Hi, Rich.
Look now, look now. Yeah.
No, look.
Zin's top side.
I can maybe kill. I can maybe overplay.
Nice, guys. Really good.
I think you play.
Yeah, very good to get both of the kills there on the chase down, and no hesitation with Ambessa and Malphite. That is going to be some good CC layering.
You had better believe it, my friend, but now there's 60 seconds on the clock until the next Drake spawns. C9 have already secured the first 2, and now it'll be up to Lion to try to stop them from acquiring Soul Point. But again, it's what you all mentioned earlier. It's really hard for Lion to approach an objective that's in C9-controlled territory.
And you do not want to give Mountain Soul over to a Malphite. That is going to be a problem.
It's thematically appropriate.
It is. That is some rock 'em rock action. As we have Saint here with the Seekers now, so he has a response to this potential engage. He has been quick quick to be able to respond to these, and now has an extra tool to do it.
Does Malphite not already have a soul of a mountain? He is a literal mountain in the lore.
Maybe he's soulless.
Oh, look, Kobe, if you have a pile of rocks, you know what happens if you add another rock to it? You have a bigger pile of rocks.
Rock,
that is
like
just better.
2 souls.
All right, 2 souls, 2 mountains, 2 Malphites, and an Ambessa ulti over the wall going after Dokla, who's trapped in Minion form, trying to get away. Thanatos' pressure should be more than enough, but a nice defensive Mega Gnar across the map at the same time. C9's under pressure, LYON going in, looking to find the kill, while Dokla still runs away here in the top side. So C9 hasn't lost anybody in the bottom fight here just yet, but APA is under immense pressure. Inspired chasing after the mid laner, and he finds him. He's still alive. LYON are on the hunt, but Inspired finally falls. Blabber looks for a little bit more as Berserker wants to hunt down Vulcan. The last little bit of damage comes in from the auto attack. It's a double kill for the Ezreal. Dokla's coming back around. Remember, he never died in the top lane. Blabber and Thanatos have to try to get away, but Thanatos might just have his days numbered. Berserker does so much damage. Thanatos barely lives, but Berserker takes him out. LYON, show their stuff.
What an incredible opening game to the finals. It is just punch after punch. One side of the map, won by Thanatos on the top side, but it's not enough. He then teleports in earlier, and the LYON squad already won the bottom side fight. Look at Inspired. He's the one who flashes. He's the one who starts it out and keeps the chase going. Speed up from Karma allows him to get in.
Exactly, and then they try to go for the turn here, but look at the Seeker's timing from Saint. Perfectly Seekers the Malphite ult, being able to immune that. And then Inspired preps the Q3, flashed in on APA, instant knockup, pressing guard, dash over the wall, chases down and finishes off APA. This was beautifully played by Inspired and Saint. And once those big cooldowns are used, Berserker's unleashed. They have nothing to threaten him, so he's just going forward.
Huge, huge stuff here. They get the kills, they get the dragon afterwards. They chose their moment. And again, even though Thanatos, he chased Dokla off the top side, and he got to teleport in first. His team had already lost the fight. Berserker, Dokla going to finish this one. It's okay. They keep up the chase, and Berserker's able to get that money on top of it. Berserker, by the way, has just been exceptional for LYON throughout this lower bracket run on the Ezreal, again, chasing down and putting in the big damage.
Look at this gold. We're dead even here after that.
Incredible
after all
opener.
of this, it is dead even. A couple hundred gold right now, not even separating these two teams. It's 2 dragons to 1. This is going to be a banger game.
And this is what people were hoping for with this matchup, with LYON powering up through the lower bracket of this lock-in tournament, and now being able to challenge Cloud9 very effectively. Such a close game we have on our hands.
All right, also looking, though, at that Seeker's arm guard we mentioned earlier for Saint, was important during the previous fight, is now broken, needs to build that towards the completed Zonias to continue to have that effect.
Has the gold for it right now, so he's going to go back to base.
He'll go back and complete that one on the other side.
Blackfire
Blackfire Torch plus Shadow Flame done for the Orianna. So APA will do plenty of damage. You saw in the replay of the last fight, Isles died instantly because that was the target of the Shockwave, of the combo there with the Malphite. But if you're sending everything in the kitchen sink at support Karma, there's probably not enough left for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, and that was the problem with the Seekers, because it was supposed to hit both of them, but because of Saint, it didn't, right? He immuned that. Now he has the stasis ready once again, and he's going to have the flash. So as long as he's reacting quickly, it's 2 more Malphite ults before you're going to hit a Malphite ult, at the very least, right? Like, you've got to get the flash and you've got to get the stasis.
You got to look at the next big Shockwave combo from Cloud9. APA here has a very damaging build with 2 items plus a Malphite delivering it with an Abyssal on that Malphite. It will amplify the damage. So if they get a good Malphite and Orianna combination here, I mean, ideally you get a bunch of members, but you could even delete a primary target if it's one of the main carries here, mainly Berserker, because Saint still has his fixed Zonias, and Berserker has no flash. So if you can do that, it would be super, super worth. But again, these fights are coming down to execution with being able to hit these huge ults.
And I just love Abyssal here. I think it makes a ton of sense. Obviously, you need some MR against this Azir, but also you're amping Orianna, as you said, and the Nico, and your own damage. So it is going to be very, very effective. A lot of upfront burst here. Even the Malphite, with the Electrocute and the upfront just base damages, does a lot of damage at the start of the fight. Obviously, thereafter, you're not really doing anything, but the initial combo is so powerful.
And you mentioned earlier, Azael, like the gold is dead even after 20 minutes of gameplay. But the big advantage for LYON is Berserker specifically. He's got his 3rd item fully completed now with the Spear of Shojin. This Ezreal has to be raid boss status.
And he certainly has shown that. Since returning to North America, he has been very, very good. Let's see about this rotation, though, because Orianna, typically in this stage of the game, it is a little bit dangerous to go to these side lanes, and that is an advantage for Azir. So APA is playing it very cautiously. It means that you give up little timing windows, about 30 seconds, a little bit less now as they change how minion waves spawn with the new season, but you give a little bit of a first move to the Azir because of the mobility and the extra power in side lanes, considering you don't have super deep vision to watch junglers either. So Orianna is on top side, has to catch one more wave before returning to the big fight. Meanwhile, you see Saint on the minimap doing a little hover play.
Okay, Dokla jumping in after Thanatos. He knows he has Saint coming up behind him. He's about to transform into the Mega Gnar. Beautiful use of the public execution to buffer through the Mega Gnar CC, allows Thanatos to continue walking away.
And that respect from Thanatos in the side lane, knowing that there could be a move from the Azir. Inspired, trying to move in as well. They are going to continue the pressure. It is technically traded towers, but they're going to get the tower on bot side first, and they're going to get the early move once again.
And you talked about how good Berserker has been and how he's created this advantage. I think that is really important because when we look back to last series, think about how C9's bot lane was looking. They were creating monstrous leads every single game, it felt like, across playoffs. This is their 2 series here against Fly and then Sentinels. That was an 8,600 gold lead when the Nexus fell. He was always so far ahead. This is the first time it feels like we're seeing him down.
Nice shockwave from APA to pull Dokla back. Does not actually put him in lethal range, but critically it makes his Sterix gauge pop. So if there is a big fight in the next 90 seconds or so, Dokla is going to be significantly easier to kill. The entire time, though, Inspired is taking out this Mountain Drake. That's going to tie the Drakes up at 2-2 and bring this game even closer to absolute parity.
Yeah, Dokla's job is weak side over here. And, he's able to clear the wave. The turret plate actually doesn't even fall there, the second one, so just barely. He doesn't even give up an extra little tick of gold. And Inspired, as you say, even these early Mountain Drakes before we get to the Soul are quite nice for durability.
All right, let's see if we're going to get anybody trying to make any sneaky Baron plays happen. We are at almost 27 minutes on the clock. We are starting to see 3 fully completed item points come online for multiple different players on both teams. A big team fight could really be the thing that blows this game open, considering how close it's been the entire time.
Yeah, a big team fight or maybe a sneaky pick. We do have a Nico on the map. Everybody's got to keep track. This mid game is where it gets a little bit more difficult keeping track of this champion, especially with all these control wards here from Cloud9, from Vulcan. You have to be very careful. When there's low health towers, sometimes those can be used as bait, but Berserker, he's just going to annihilate the tower. Ezreal, very safe. He's got Isles next to him, so you have this. Wait a minute, Inspired's going in.
Yeah, Inspired chasing after Vulcan there only chunks him a little bit. Honestly, not a ton of pressure, but it still allows LYON to maintain control over this topside river as Vulcan can't get in to try to sweep away any wards or make any moves.
It's important to always go attack the Nico because support Nico, just chunk her early on, and Inspired has always had his eyes out trying to spot the enemy engage.
Also worth pointing out that the Serpent's Fang has been grabbed, which I love when you can actually tech into that on a melee champion where it is quite effective because it has a higher percentage reduction on the shields. And you're thinking about Sterix on the other side, you're thinking about Karma on the other side, you're thinking about Ezreal Barrier. A lot of these tools that can be reduced because Mantra Shield, that Mantra Inspire coming through from the Karma, can really make a big difference.
And even just as lethality items go, Serpents is really efficient too. So it's not even like, oh, I'm going so far out of my way to help the team cut down these shields.
So you tell them that you are.
Exactly.
So then they have to gank for you.
Yeah, you get those extra points.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 minutes until our next dragon spawns. Blabber is just trying to clear away a little bit of vision as LYON is mostly grouped up back in mid lane. You could see Dokla taking his recall down here in the bottom side as Thanatos continues just trying to push out the bottom lane, make sure that C9 side lanes stay in a good state.
And again, it's this small window. You saw another timing where they had pushed in top wave. So you see the Orianna very safely and tentatively grabbing the minion wave, but everybody else on Cloud9 has to give a little space on the other side of the map while they know, all right, we could be outnumbered here. There's an extra roam timer on the side of LYON. Nobody dropping and allowing the Orianna to actually push really far on that second one. They have so many wards over the Baron area for the side of Cloud9 that, they've actually taken control and putting a little bit of information pressure on LYON.
C9 with control over the top side river, and it's very, very dark in this fog of war for LYON. So dangerous against a Malphite and an Orianna and a Nico. But LYON have to make sure that C9 is not just taking away the Baron. Blabber going to push into enemy territory here as Inspired does secure his own blue before C9 moves over.
And as the pace of the game has really slowed down, I will say, I do think Malphite in a slower game is often less effective because you're playing on a zero ping environment, and if they have flash every fight, you're expecting Berserker and Saint to be able to flash that if they have any vision on the Malphite whatsoever. So that can be a difficulty. You then almost need CC coming out before, or you need to be, from fog over a wall to get that kind of speed up on the Malphite ult.
Yeah, that's why I love this attention to so much vision here. So many control wards, because Malphite would benefit from coming out of a brush with short distance. Nico would benefit hugely as well with information advantage. So it's something that doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but can have a really big effect on who is actually winning the current game state. And Cloud9 have been able to push out a lot of these LYON wards. That being said, they're trying to kill Berserker, and it's an Ezreal with Flash, with Barrier, with Karma always next to him, so it's a very mobile person. You're probably going to have to see, even flashing for a shorter range Malphite ultimate, so it's quicker, or trying to do it from fog, as you say, over a wall, or with Nico one direction, Malphite the other direction. Again, though, the Abyssal on the Malphite means if he's got that Orianna ball on him as well, you're going to get a huge burst of damage, a huge combo.
And with 30 seconds left until the next Drake spawns, you can see C9 shifting their vision control from the top side river over to the bottom side. They want to make LYON check into this dangerous fog of war. They want to give Blabber the opportunity, or Vulcan the opportunity, to make this surprise play that can actually catch someone. Saint is going to teleport now towards mid lane, and LYON are all moving towards the top side of the river, potentially to start the Baron. Inspired has already begun it.
Yeah, they're trying to get this teleport off of Ambessa, off of Thanatos right now. They're trying to pressure Cloud9. Currently, Thanatos still pushing. He's going to get up to the tower now. LYON.
Okay, Baron's already at half HP. Dokla's got the Gnar bar charged. He transforms into Mega, as now the TP will come through. Thanatos ready to join the fight. Inspired and LYON have the Baron down to 3,000 HP. Inspired jumps in. He wants to go for the combo. Sven's already down to 40%. Baron at 2.7k. Inspired not dead yet as the pressure's on Sven. APA's about to fall, and it's going to be claimed by Blabber. They got the Baron, but now they got to try to get out. Saint goes in for a big shuffle. Dokla dies to Thanatos. LYON continues trying to get away, and C9 hasn't lost a man. A double kill back over to Thanatos. He takes out Inspired. Berserker's on a rampage, though, and the Ezreal still got plenty of HP. C9 still hanging around. They want to see what else they might get, but what a fight. What a sequence for C9.
Blabber with the huge smite, and then he goes over the wall to escape, and even though Saint tries to chase him down and shove him back in, they can't win the inside of the fight because Ambessa.
Only me and Azir play for Nash, guys. Everyone else plays for the team fight.
Watch his Zen, watch his Zen. Nice, flashing in. No flash, guys. No flash, no E. I have stopwatch. I got Baron. I'm flashing. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking. Look bad. Okay, Azir after his line. Where's Zen? No flash. Look, nice. I have to base to B. Kai back. Zen, no flash, Thanatos. I can base to B. I'm coming. Sorry, we get Drake, guys. We get Drake.
I mean, that was the slimmest of margins there. Imagine they kill APA before he gets the Zonias off, right? He was down to about 5% HP, but he's able to Zonias, flash out, still contribute to that fight in a very meaningful way. Sven as well was down to about 20% HP. LYON just could not finish these critical kills. Well, Thanatos on the other side absolutely could.
Honestly, to me, this is what League of Legends is all about. These close games when you get to the late game objective and everyone is feeling the pressure. There's two sides of the fight. We're on Baron. We're turning. We're trying to win the team fight. We're trying to get the objective at the same time. That is just the ultimate stress, but also the ultimate reward when you do come up with the big win. And Cloud9 now, with Dragon's Soul Point, with the gold lead, with the Baron buff, it is their turn to push.
Exactly. It's what I was saying earlier. When the game is this close for this long, generally it's one big team fight that really warps things. 4,000 gold lead. The Mountain Drake Soul Point that they earned after the Baron was taken while we were in the replay. And now pressure in the bottom lane as C9 are looking to just battering ram their way into the base, and LYON is nowhere nearby. They don't want to try to defend against this for now. They're going to sacrifice this first inhibitor as C9 will claim it for free, and it looks like they're going to keep moving forward. They're saying, LYON, you have got to come answer this. C9 continuing to cautiously move up. True Shot Barrage only hits Blabber. APA taking the focus here from Inspired as C9 groups up to protect their mid laner. Inspired still looking for a little bit more, but he does get slowed down by the Malphite. Dokla's got the Gnar bar. LYON used the Zen ulti. Dokla goes in, but he goes in alone. The Gnar
is going to die behind enemy lines as APA takes the kill. Public execution from Thanatos is just about ready to kill Berserker, and the blooming burst writes his epitaph. LYON in a 3v5. C9 on the hunt for Nexus turrets. Saint, Isles, and Inspired trying to defend, but C9 still has the Baron for a couple more seconds. They'll continue pushing forward. That first Nexus turret already about to die. Death timer still at over 30 seconds for the two dead Lions, as C9 will now switch their attention back over towards mid lane and make their exit.
Yeah, man, Cloud9, they're going to demolish a few more plates here. Sven going to get the last one and open up the mid lane turret as well. Thanatos is recalling at the moment. I think it should be fine, but they're going another free kill!
The Wombo combo, unstoppable force plus shockwave, blink and you'll miss it. Isles is gone, and that's right when Berserker and Dokla are about to respawn, so you've still got this power vacuum that LYON can't meet because they're 4v5 for the next 30 seconds again.
And Thanatos, he's almost level 20 here. He has Guardian Angel completed. He is an assassin on this Ambessa, and he has 2 lives. And we'll take a look at how they kite. And this is a tale of like differences in coordination. Dokla here, you look at Inspired, was already walking way back. So I don't know what went on with the call for that one. But then Thanatos, look at this ultimate. Yes, Berserker's able to Arcane Shift. He does not care. Thanatos nails him with the snipe.
Yeah, last week we were talking so much about Thanatos wanting his first player of the game and the rest of the team always outshining him. I'll tell you fellas what, Thanatos is my player of the game so far in this one. His dominance in the side lane, his contribution in the team fights, his mechanical execution when he needs to click correctly, he has been on point in game number 1. This man wants to go to first stand.
Meanwhile, the rest of Cloud9 agree. And they're going to 4-1 split push Flowers. Top side here will be left at Thanatos, while the rest of the team continues on that open mid lane that they had opened up previously. And now with the previous play, they also have such a big gold lead. Look at the itemization difference here. Yeah. Quite the extra advantage. Oh, wow, thank you. They switch right back to the items perfectly. And we can see the Azir turret does go up, though, so defense 4 line. There's still possibilities, you know, it's not quite over yet. There is a Dragon Soul that is 40 seconds away, but there's still hope. LYON trying still to find an opening, see if they can catch anyone, maybe with a lazy recall or splitting off from the squad. Now,
wait, hold on, Inspired jumps in. He wants to kill APA, but instead, the stasis protects the Orianna. Now Saint goes in for the follow-up shuffle, and APA is down. LYON might have found their fight. Blabber's gonna flash away now too, as Inspired and Saint are about to drop. Sven's got the damage onto the Azir, and Blabber picks one up back onto Inspired. Dokla, Berserker, and Isles all on the run. C9 continue their push in a 4v3. Thanatos turns his attention immediately over to the Nexus turret, as Berserker fires back towards Vulcan. He nearly kills him, but close isn't good enough. Sven and Thanatos are ending the game. The Nexus is under pressure, and C9 takes game 1.
Oh my goodness, what an opening game! That one certainly delivered.
Damn, that was a
trade, and
they lost game 1, so now they are fearful.
Yeah, okay,
because
so
if you lose the Talia,
fearless. Yeah, and you're only 1 game away from elimination. Yeah, so I don't know how long the series will go.
Maybe if you won the first game, you're willing to do that. But his Talia is pretty good.
Fair enough, fair enough. But this is correct. You know, these are his 2 best champions, so get these out of the way. But then he still plays all this other supportive stuff. You can still go like Galio and then have Blabber play a carry jungle champion this time around. Or something like that, but Aurora in the hands of Thanatos has been extremely scary, and Thanatos was player of the game. We've been tracking all tournament long. He has wanted to get player of the game. I just want to once again congratulate him because he finally got one on his huge Ambessa game.
So I feel like with LYON going first pick and banning Aurora, they're showcasing that they want to play Rumble here, right? So C9, I think, was deciding, do they actually want to play Rumble or do they want to ban something else? So since Rumble is up, I'm expecting that will be first picked. And then they decided to ban Trundle because you let the Rumble through and then you can answer it with a Galio or an Ornn. Those are 2 good matchups. So I think that is the thought process that I'm seeing from the 2 sides as far as the pick and ban is going.
Yeah, 100%. And it's exactly what we were talking about, but then you get Blabber on a carry jungler here instead of Malphite, and that has been bread and butter for Cloud9. They have made really, really good inroads there with the synergy building up and allowing Blabber to have some carry champs from jungle too.
Yeah, I was talking to Blabber before the series started, and he was saying how he was really sad that he wasn't getting to play Kiana and these types of champs. And he's just like, bot lane is just too OP, man. You just have to play for bot. You know, you can't play a carry, you can't play for yourself because you got to be helping bot lane the whole time.
Yeah, and you got to build Zeke's Convergence and Protoplasm Harness and see about the extra tanks. But if you get a tank in the top lane with a Cassante, that bodes well for his carry efforts. The Cassante, of course, while it's not like, oh, the, Galio or anything, you just build a Volcanic Rooker anyway, and there's your giant magic damage shield anyway. And most people run double APs with mid lane being AP as well, so you can have a very effective matchup in either side lane. We'll see if LYON throws some wrinkles in it though, because if you have Rumble start, you can always pivot and build a Yone comp. Yone and Rumble comps are very, very common. We'll see which direction LYON actually want to go for it, because nothing has been revealed for mid lane, so you don't want to do it early.
Yeah, we've got the Cassante into the Rumble, not super surprising there, and as C9 lock Yunara as their second pick, I do want to remind everyone, or maybe educate you for the first time if you missed the series last time, that 8,000 gold lead that you talked about, Azael, that was Sven's individual gold advantage at the end of their series against Sentinels, that was on Yunara. That is the champ that he performed at that level with.
I wonder if they try to steal the Lulu, because when you go with Aphelios here, you could steal the Lulu pairing from the Yunara, which I actually would really, really like. And that would maybe knock down the support pairing tier. Because yes, you can go other enchanters alongside the Yunara, but Yunara Lulu to me is the prime pairing. So I actually think this is really smart drafting from LYON. I really like this.
Yeah. And Aphelios is the super, super common answer into the Yunara too. And Berserker's Aphelios is very famous, so it's a very good combination on their side. I love the Yuumi hovers because that has been another of the enchanters that has been used elsewhere, and not a lot of success. So very much doubt that that would actually come through. Meanwhile, into the Lulu lane. All right, fine. You steal it, we engage. We look for kills. And I'm expecting Blabber on a jungler that can also go to that bottom lane. You've got Yunara Nautilus. You are looking to pressure.
And remember that Nautilus was the engaged support that LYON banned out in the second half of the draft in game number 1 that they did not want C9 selecting. So now that it's in Vulcan's hands, we'll see how many plays the C9 bot lane can make with this. Remember that with the Ezreal Karma dominant duo draft in game number 1, it was Berserker and Isles that controlled the bottom lane pretty much the entire time. Jungler activity was mostly focused towards solo lanes. I'm curious if that'll change much here now that Nautilus is down there in the bot lane prowling around with the dredge line.
And I like that Cloud9 are respecting the Yone comp I was talking about, because if you've got support on a Lulu, you need more CC and more engage from other areas. And so you would want some CC out of Inspired and possibly Saint for the rest of this LYON comp, because if you got a Rumble Ultimate and you just have an Enchanter support, like, you need to keep people on the Rumble Ultimate to find success. So good respect here from Cloud9 trying to take away some of the further options that you would want to pair.
Yeah, I feel like it's Wukong or Jarvan probably is the next ban. To me, it is some of those junglers that you're talking about that can actually set up for the Rumble. They need to have some sort of setup, and it is going to be Cho'Ungle. That's a Zahungle liker right there, you know?
This guy has been watching too many Azael casts, man.
There's no such thing.
That's fair. You are a literal world champ.
There you go.
Just not at the spelling bee. Like, that's not in that competition. The Wukong. Okay, if you're secretly hiding that, I give up. If you have a spelling bee trophy somewhere.
I won a spelling bee. I did.
Okay.
I did.
God bless America, dude. Okay.
And we can't really call him on it because you're like, well, I did some research on Canadian spelling bees.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you guys spell color with a U.
Yeah,
that doesn't count because that's wrong. That's not the right way to spell a word.
Not the American spelling.
Hell yeah, brother.
God bless.
So we got our Wukong band away, like you were talking about. Great pairing there with the Rumble for the AoE engage. Keep him on the red carpet. LYON's also going to ban out that Jarvan. So excuse me. 2 more of these prominent AD junglers taken off the table with, remember, Xin also removed thanks to Fearless. And we're going to get Nocturne locked in for Blabber.
Gotta see, I'm seeing a lot of pressure put towards diving this Aphelios. You know, Nocturne, Nautilus point and click, Cassante getting in here. If they actually locked a Mundo, it would be scaling, but it wouldn't be hard CC for keeping people on your Rumble ultimate. So, I don't know. You'd have to worry about the early game a little bit if you did that. That's much better as far as getting some engage, getting some CC.
But you can't blind Annie, I feel like. If you blind Annie mid, yeah, the range is too short. You just play against Victor or champions like this, and you get poked out. You can't really even interact. So I think he is maybe showing we know you want to pick Annie. I think that's maybe what it was, because remember in game 1, LYON banned the Annie. So clearly they think that C9 is willing to play it, and APA does have last pick. So he may be saying, hey, I know what you want to do, bro. But it is going to be Aatrox as the jungler here. So another AD jungler. But LYON so far, no lockdown whatsoever. And I do feel like just historically, this team to me has struggled a lot more when they don't have hard engage.
Yeah, you're looking at the engage tools on LYON being Aatrox, sweet spots.
I mean, both teams know it.
and Aphelios Gravitum gun. Like, there's not a lot here.
I will say, Saint had a really hard carry Ahri game, exceptional performance from him, and he likes the Ahri into Annie matchup, so we'll see.
I don't think you should like that matchup.
I would favor the Cloud9 side.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this is a really bad matchup for Ahri because, like, anytime you're going forward, it's about mobility, right? And you just have point-and-click CC, and the Tibbers can also block the charms. It can absorb W damage and R damage.
He's taunting him beforehand, hovering it and going right into it. They know.
I agree, he knows, but I think it is a really tough matchup, and I like Cloud9's draft way more. Like, way more. I feel like you can engage on anyone on the other side and one-shot them. There is no one who can absorb engages. You have Annie, you have Nautilus, you have Nocturne. You fly in and just literally throw your CC and your spells at whoever is there in the front line, and I feel like they should die. And so I am really concerned for LYON, who has a comp that A, has no lockdown, B, no setup for the charm or for the equalizer, and C, has no options on how to start fights.
I think we are aligned.
Yep, it's a little scary for LYON. They're going to have to get off to an early lead when you don't have lockdown, when you don't have a true front line. You look at the front line of what LYON has drafted, you've got Rumble, who will have some health, you've got whoever Lulu presses R on, and then Aatrox can drain tank, but if he's just locked up and bursted down before he can effectively do that, he's not going to last much longer either. So LYON has got to be clean in the early game. They've got to build these early leads. They've got to give themselves something to play around, because C9's comp seems like it's got plenty of tools for solving problems.
And both mid lane and bot lane need that jungle attention. I think these are both good targets to put early jungle ganks in. You can heavily sway this matchup with just a little bit of jungle pressure, getting the HP advantage, getting the summer spell advantage, and obviously the bottom side here with the Nautilus are going to be looking for the engage opportunities onto the Enchanter lane. Otherwise, you just take a lot of damage and poke.
And of course, the math on everything changes completely, based on the early game, so we'll have to see how they do. And we have Kanga standing by with Blabber's mom.
Thank you very much. I have Blabber's mom, Lily. Thank you for joining us here for a little interview. You just flew in from Maryland, correct?
Yes.
How's the trip been?
Nice.
It's awesome to have you here supporting Blabber. And we were talking a little bit before we went live, and you mentioned a story about Blabber's name and how he got his name. Can you tell everybody at home how Blabber got his name?
Oh, yeah. The first name is Blabberfish 2. Actually, that's his big brother's name. His big brother played first, then transferred the name. He took the account.
So he stole it from his brother. Is his brother here today?
Yes. Billy is here. Yeah.
Does his brother still play League of Legends? Is he upset that Blabber stole his name?
No. He played at the college start. So he only played like 1 year. Then Blabber start to play. He kind of helped him, but he just become a fan.
Now he's a fan. First the teacher, now the fan.
He said it's hard to play this game.
All right, well, thank you so much, Lily, for coming to chat with us. It looks like there's action in the game, so we're going to throw it back to the casters.
I like how she's kind of like a little bit of subtle shade to Blabber. He tried to teach him, but, it's a hard game.
It is a hard game, man.
It is a hard game, yes.
A lot happens in League of Legends, but it does make the two make a lot more sense now. He truly is the second of the Blabberfish. As APA, you saw during the interview, nearly found himself a solo kill on the Saint, got him down below 100 HP, and yeah, Chad appreciating the interview here too.
We interviewed 2 Cloud9 moms.
How many LYON moms we got here?
Yeah.
It could be a mom gap. We're going to have to search the crowd, find if there's any LYON moms.
We will scan for that throughout this game and see if we can succeed and get some more of those interviews throughout the day. That's another reason to hope that we get a full best-of-5 series. We'll get more interviews with more player families as Saint now back into the mid lane here. Ooh. Nice hit on the charm with the Electrocute proc 2. APA's bone plating not going to give him a whole lot, and Saint with the flash to reposition the return of the Spirit Orb takes APA out solo style.
He says, I know you're going to pick anybody. It's important that he actually flashes and gets the kill, though, because he had just used teleport on his reset, so he kind of had to leverage his buy, and APA there had no recall, he had no buy, and he wanted to get that wave in, but the little dodge back there, Saint expects it, and even though he gets the stun out, Q, and here's the pullback.
I mean, that was beautiful from Saint. Really greedy from APA, though.
Nice Saint.
Oh, wow. GG.
That's a GG, yeah.
I mean, you can see the look on APA's face. He was dominating the 1v1, right? He was already up 10 CS. He pushed Saint back early. And if you don't kill him there and you've committed your TP and you're low on health, APA is in a monstrous spot. He's going to crush that matchup. So big mistake from APA.
Yeah, but now it's C9 doing a two-man invade, going after Inspired, but Saint is ready to respond. Blabber does get pulled back. Sweet spot. Q3 Inspired is about to pick up another one. And C9 are blundering the early game with LYON happy to punish.
Mid-jungle diff here in game number 2. This is a huge start for LYON. Inspired can now cross and steal your camps as well. The flash from Inspired to hit the Q afterwards, and he had just disengaged. They had them in a little bit of a pincer there. Another good collapse, all off this mid jungle, and now look at the bottom lane being pushed in. Inspired can steal another camp as well. Oh wait, see if he actually finishes, because he doesn't know that the Nocturne reset to that top side of the map, but because he's got his bot lane pushing also, he's like, it's fine. Even if you tried to come, I would have the extra pressure here. So he gets both of these camps, steals them away. That is truly going to be a significant cost specifically for Blabber.
And this is an enormous gap now in the gold already. It's 5 minutes in. It's a 1.5k gold lead here for LYON. Big mistake from APA. Then they get outplayed in the 2v2. And that knock-on of losing your whole bot side after that is brutal. So C9 now are going to be in a lot of trouble. Blabber is homeless right now. He's got nothing to do. You have no camps to farm. There's no scuttle up. There's nowhere for him to go.
Kill wards.
Yeah,
found one.
Those give you some money.
There you go.
Yeah.
Found it.
A little bit of extra ward allowance. Okay.
Look at that vision score, too, going up.
Okay.
Straight to the moon.
See, there's some positive.
Glass half full.
Exactly.
I like where your head's
Look
at.
on the bright side.
He just only caught Inspired's vision score.
Yeah, Inspired might be getting to level 6 as well and get the bot crab that Blabber has built his whole personality around. But
he got the ward.
Better, vision score. That's good.
Yeah. Man, you got to at least sell it a little better than that.
All good. The other thing here for LYON is that they have been able to get a lot of push elsewhere on the map, so it allows some freedom here. The early game going quite well for LYON.
They're looking for a potential invade here, maybe. Blabber still only level 5 on the Nocturne. Spell Shield's the first Electro Harpoon and does manage to walk away from Dokla.
He can't even get his blue. They're going to steal that side, too, on the respawn. That's why they all invaded there. They knew he would be going top to bot, so they stole away the bot camps. Then Dokla is just proxying, so he walks in, he spots him. He's still level 5. Inspired steals this away as well. Blabber is still quite far from level 6. Inspired is taking everything off of that 2v2 that they won.
And when we were talking in draft, I said LYON's got to make sure they get these early leads to make up for the lack of lockdown in frontline. I feel like this is exactly the type of early lead that they want to see. 1,500 gold, nearly 2K, just 7 minutes into the game as Blabber still struggles to reach his level 6 and unlock Paranoia.
And a large amount of gold will definitely change how this team plays, because if LYON have so much extra gold here, then Berserker's going to be able to play very, very aggressively. Lulu assumed Lulu is going to get like a Mikhail's as well, so you can peel for this Aphelios, and when they're trying to dive in, you have so many other threats that are going to be rich. Inspired assumed he's going to be rich. Saint is going to be a monster once again. We already saw him make huge pick plays on the Ahri when he got early leads previously. And so LYON are going to have a lot of threats here.
They are, and Saint has been so good in playoffs. He was the target of a lot of criticism during the Swiss stage. He had been throwing games, he'd been making massive blunders in the late stages, and now he's been really stepping up, and even with this counter pick, he gets the early solo, LYON invading again. Blabber can't play the game.
Yeah, I mean, they just have complete jungle mid dominance. Saint here playing with Inspired. It's really nice to see because another big question with this LYON roster when they formed, and they were undoubtedly signing huge names with getting the former MVP Inspired on the squad. But we were wondering, you know, how are they going to work together? Is the communication, is the synergy really going to be there? And it certainly has been for these two in the you know, exceptional lower bracket run for playoffs for Saint and Inspired.
Well, if it didn't already seem good enough that LYON got the solo kill and then got the 2v2 outplay and then got the enemy blue buff and now they're getting the enemy red buff, they're also now getting an early Ocean Drake too. This is just total early game dominance from LYON. Saint going in looking for another solo kill as APA missed the stun. Saint thought maybe he had the chance to finish him off, but still 100 HP left on the Annie. But it's still so much pressure, it's so much control for Saint and for LYON.
And it's all these charms. I mean, Saint nailing a lot of these charms on APA as he's pushing the wave and then kills these last minions, and then you're taking a little bit of extra minion damage in addition to the RE damage. Regardless, Blabber is going to go over and grab those Void Grubs. You know, first dragon to line is quite nice too. An Ocean Dragon early is always nice for the laners, but Thanatos goes for all out.
Yeah, Thanatos looking to try to get something back for C9 here in this doomed early game, but no, it's going to be Dokla ready to turn it around. Dokla gets the outplay, he'll secure the kill, and Blabber has to use his first Nocturne ulti just to prevent this from also being a disaster.
Big Dokes with the outplay in the 1v2 there. Seemed like maybe there was a bit of miscommunication. Blabber wanted to finish the grubs. Thanatos wanted to go for the play. Blabber tried to finish the grubs first, then even had to pull off them, so he couldn't even get that final grub. It reset, and he uses the ult, gets the kill, but it's too late. So, you know, look at this. It's all about this right here. Blabber saying, okay, I'm going to finish grubs, then we'll go for the play. But Thanatos is already going. Look at Blabber desperately trying to finish this off, realizing it's too late. I got to go now. So has to leave the grub. But at that point, Thanatos was so low, he just takes the kill.
We were just highlighting the mid and jungle synergy and the timings for Saint and Inspired, and get a little desync there on the opposite side of the map for Blabber and Thanatos. So does kind of hurt to leave behind that other grub, you know, only getting to, not getting to the nice bonus. It hurts more to actually have a counter kill for Dokla going over.
I think the thing that hurts most, and what I'm really scratching my head about, is the C9 comms just seem completely scrambled this game. The 2v2 invade early on for the chicken camp that went awry, this play that just seemed completely desynced. C9 is, I would say they're not on the same page. I don't even think they're on the same chapter in game number 2. They have got to recalibrate this.
Yep, it's been tough, and I just love how LYON are pushing this forward, because this is the kind of play you need to go for. When you don't have hard engage, when you don't have the traditional kind of comps, ways to start fights, you have to get in your opponent's face, make them walk into you. APA is looking topside, though. They want to try to go for a dive here. Equalizer almost up, but there is no flash.
All right, APA does have Tibbers ready to summon. C9 just about have the wave ready to crash into the turret. Meanwhile, Inspired going for the play in the bottom lane here at the same time. C9 going to start their dive up there with the top side with Tibbers summoned up, and the burst goes down. Thanatos gets the kill as Vulcan drops here in the bottom lane right after. Inspired taking the kill as Ven's in a 1v3. He wants to try to get something back, but the Aatrox has the wild growth, the world ender, and another kill. It's LYON 5v2 in the game. They come out on top in the play. Saints back in mid to answer the wave push at the same time, and the gold lead is nearly 2,500.
Yeah, so first you saw the original play with Saint and Inspired hovering, waiting to try and trap someone if they came to Raptors, but nobody went there because APA is going top, and Inspired says, fine, if no one's going to come into your jungle, then I'll just dive bottom lane. That is still more worth for the LYON side. Dokla now getting into chat as well, typing some of them. I believe that was probably for the gank, where he got the counter kill. But again, this one too, you know, when your bottom lane gets 2 kills, diving the bottom lane, and getting more money into AD carry, into Aphelios, into Berserker. That is very significant, but first tower bonus is a nice little bonus as well. So Cloud9, they do rush to that, and you get extra gold there.
Yeah, and I think it was smart to just commit to that once the play has already gone so bad, right? And quite frankly, it could have been a lot worse, because Dokla died as the Equalizer came up. If that play was a second or two slower, then he would have just ulted the wave and nothing would have happened on top side. He would have lost everything on bot side and gotten nothing on top side. Berserker, again, out to a nice advantage over Sven. Kind of expected in this sort of a 2v2 when you are playing against these enchanters, and then obviously the dive slammed that advantage home.
And we've been talking about the jungle gap so far this game. Inspired off to this 2-0-1 start on the Aatrox, has his Sundered Sky completed. This is the item that always causes question marks to be typed in Twitch chat when he's in World Ender, has Deathbringer stance and Sundered Sky proc all at the same time and regenerates 2/3 of his health with one stab. So the drain tanking power of this champion is truly online as LYON are invading the C9 jungle yet again.
Let's see if the recall goes off before the play. Okay, Blabber cancels the recall, so he's still hovering down here.
Did you see that Q activation there from Berserker with the red gun? Gave him just enough speed to get out of range of that hook there. So didn't have to use Ghost, didn't have to use Flash, just uses the Q activation, gets back out of range of the hook, and it means Blabber loses his buff again and can't really do much of anything.
Blabber hanging around the mid lane now, does have Paranoia ready to cast. He has the experimental Hex Plate too, but he is not level 11 and he's not even close. Barely level 10 here on the Nocturne, so still going to be a while before he can get the ultimate upgrade as C9 look like they want to start the Drake.
And the biggest problem is they've known exactly where Blabber is the whole time. They're always walking in your jungle, so you know if Nocturne's not topside, he's botside. If Nocturne's not botside, he's topside.
Okay, Inspired's on the approach, walks into the banana brush. APA dropping the Tibbers, ready to try to defend himself here. Paranoia used defensively. C9 do not want to go after LYON with this. They just want to get out.
And they expend 2 ultimates to do that and grab that dragon play. So they're stealing away one of these dragons so LYON can't keep stacking them. But now they're kind of combat weak for the next minute and a half or so with no Nocturne or Annie ultimate. So you would kind of expect LYON to have an Inspired and Saint look for a play at the moment. We get a little replay of the top side.
What are we watching here? Oh, teleport. Oh,
interrupts.
that was an accident.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way that was not an accident. You're not TPing in the face of Santi that you're just trading with, so that has to be a misclick there from Dokla, because the Pathmaker interrupts it, the Q3 interrupts it, the All-Out interrupts it. There's just no world in which you press that intentionally.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a whoopsie there from Big Dokes. His Rumble now the one part of the LYON squad that is not ahead of his counterparts. So Thanatos trying to do some heavy lifting, keep Cloud9 in this game. Gold lead still at about the 2,000 that it was earlier. And remember, this gold lead has been around this neighborhood since about minute 5 into the game. So if you're C9, you're happy that it hasn't gotten worse. But if you're LYON, you're happy that you still have control over the game like you do. The Rift Herald is down to 1,400. It will be secured by Blabber and C9 as Inspired wanted to move up and try to steal it away. Equalizer dropped down. Blabber trying to escape. Saint on the hunt looking for APA. Berserker's got the Calibrum. Keep your eyes on the range. No, he misses the Moonlight Vigil. So C9 gets themselves an objective, and again, they escape.
Honestly, that was a heist for Cloud9. Really good timing window because we were just talking about, oh yeah, they don't quite have Nocturne ultimate and Annie ult. Well, they got the objective, and just now Nocturne ult comes back up, Annie ult is back up, so even during that window, they still got the objective, still get the Rift Herald, and now they've got their ults ready to roll.
And LYON showing up there, I think Cloud9 getting away is great evidence of what we were talking about with the draft weakness of not having the lockdown, not being able to secure kills, that in a lot of drafts, a lot of compositions, you're going to get at least something back there. But since they don't have it, C9 can get themselves out. But now LYON's on the attack again. They want to try to at least get some turret plates, find something, continue their pressure on C9.
And those turret plates are fun to wait.
There's a Paranoia over in the mid lane. Berserker protected by the Lulu. Flashes away even after receiving the Wild Growth. Thanatos Pathmaker is going to get him away from the Infernal Chains, and nothing more happens from the play.
Quite an effective engage there from Cloud9, though. They got Flash, Ghost, and ult off Lulu, plus the heal off Lulu. So a lot of tools there used, but Berserker survives. They knock down the tower. They keep that gold lead right around that 2.2k mark.
And critically, this money is into Aphelios' Infinity Edge fund.
That's an important investment.
Yeah, they set up a hedge fund for Berserker, and when that thing pays off and you get 2-item Aphelios, then that is where the big damage will actually come from. Again, especially if you group up for this champion, he can just murder people. And with the reintroduction of the Storm Razor, it gives so much extra move speed to Aphelios. It allows you a lot easier navigation of some of these team fights. Obviously, a Lulu on top helps, and having summoner spells will help on top of that, but big item power spike in the future.
Yeah, and he's Sven as well just finished 1500 bolts, so that is a big spike as well. Works so well on Yunara. You pop the R, you can dash forward, you get these big autos to start off the fight.
Yeah, as soon as the team fight begins, you fan the hammer, instantly just get those crits, and it makes him so scary. Like I say, one more reminder, this is the champ that he had the 8,000 gold lead on against Sentinels. This is the one that C9 really wants to play around him on when he's piloting it.
Yeah, it really is just so perfect for Yunara because ultimate ability haste is doubly good on her because then you get to use your ultimate enhanced abilities.
Transcend oneself.
Too, and jumping around, firing off the Kamehameha big blast waves. We'll see.
That one does look way cooler than throwing that little bead thing. Like you get a little bead thing, or you get a laser.
Yeah, it's a pretty good upgrade. We'll see though. Mid lane, AD carry ego battle with a Lulu on one side.
Okay, all right.
Eating burgers. Honestly, that's pretty good for Sven's side. You know, able to push him off afterwards. Nobody overcommitting though, and we're just gonna have side lane pressure. Inspired here. They know he's there. Just took the Hex Gate and cleared out the ward.
And while the gold lead is good for LYON, it was 1.5k, 1.6k at 5 minutes into the game, right? And that means so much more than it does now. And the problem is for LYON, even though they did an excellent job of pushing that lead forward, constantly invading on Blabber, now the game is stabilized. And if Cloud9 just continue farming from here, they still have some of those compositional advantages where they get to be the ones to choose when and where you fight. They took away an early dragon, so there's not a big worry about a soul stack, so they are going to choose when to fight.
Look at this overcommitment here. You know, Cloud9 are sending everywhere. That's 5 people. They're leaving the top side turret, and they're saying, hey, we're going to either force Saint's teleport or just give up turret plate money. Saint right now, thank you for the picture-in-picture. Turret plate earned at the moment during this setup. And LYON, again, it's worth reiterating, they are very okay with giving up early dragons for gold if it is a compromising position. You don't want to walk into this Cloud9 team. You probably just cannot walk into a Cloud9 team like this with an Annie, with a Nautilus, with so many tools to punish you. And so they say, fine, fine, fine. You're going to throw down the 5 people towards this dragon. You get it. We're going to take the tower instead.
Yep, and they are going to be able to get that tower. Just now, APA's TP came back up. Had that been up a little bit earlier, maybe Thanatos TP'd in, then you can get the dragon, then TP up to defend, but they did not have that. So it is the single TP advantage now for LYON as they have it available on both Dokla and Saint.
They know there's a ward there. He's just looking at each other, giving each other some emotes.
Yeah, just a couple thumbs up, little burger here and there. Inspired does have his Sterix gauge fully completed. Again, this is another massive item for this Aatrox who kind of stands alone on the front line for LYON. It gives you way better chances of being able to drain tank through some of the burst and the lockdown. As there's your equalizers. Sven already down to half HP. C9 trying to get away. World Ender coming out from Inspired. First Q hits the sweet spot, and C9 are all trying to flash out. Thanatos, defensive Pathmaker, wants to try to go all out, but instead he's buried in his own jungle. LYON see their moment and they pounce.
Sven, pretty big mistake, honestly. He ate 2 of the knockups in a row from Inspired as he was trying to get an auto down on the mid lane turret. That chunked him low, and that prompted the engage because now he's losing 40% of his health. Equalizer gets dropped on his head. Even through the locket, you're too low to fight. Then as Inspired comes to the wall, he hits him with another knockup. So Sven did not participate in that fight whatsoever. He takes that damage. Thanatos pays the price for Sven's sins.
I have to say, this is looking like a good jungle Aatrox. You know, there have been a lot of top lane champions that have got jungle adjustments to be able to be flexed into jungle. Aatrox originally had a mega power clear. It's still really good on the champion, but that doesn't necessarily mean your jungler is going to be able to hit sweet spot Qs and perform well in team fights and be able to navigate like a normal Aatrox player would. But Inspired, he plays all other lanes. He practices a lot of other champions and has been quite good navigating this Aatrox. And now it's a 2-item Aatrox. You're talking about the Sundered Sky durability that adds with a Sterix on top. He's a true juggernaut.
All right, APA. Can you get away from this one because Saint is ready? All he's got to do is land the charm. The Annie ultimate doesn't do the job. Saint continues his dive forward, and Big Dokes has enough damage to finish it off. The summon Tibbers didn't hit Saint. It didn't get the stun, and LYON solo laners find their target.
Yeah, APA shortchanged that. I don't know if he was expecting that he would try to like flash over it or if it was an anticipation thing or what was going on there, but it looked like he just whiffed, and he did not go with the Incinerate, with that Q to guarantee the point-and-click stun. He went with the Tibbers right off the rip and just kind of dropped it early. Maybe tried to use it as a bodyguard for charm or something like that. I'm not really sure. But either way, he does get taken out.
And we were talking earlier about how LYON wasn't building the gold lead any further from their early one. Now they're up 4,000. Now LYON's looking strong.
Yeah, my initial guess was he's trying to block charm possibilities, but they just go right past it. You know, he throws the Q through, and you can see him zigzagging the Tibbers back and forth here. But because Rumble has such a long range with ultimate, you can add that extra damage. Dokla throws down that on top of him. And APA, this is like the third time he's jumped out of his seat, basically. After every time he gets killed here, you can tell the pressure is on.
I mean, I understand the thought process of using that to block it, but if you're going to flash anyway, you can just wait until he comes in range, Q stun him, guaranteed, then drop the Tibbers, and then if he goes for a charm flash, you still have your flash, right? So definitely misplayed there, definitely misplayed in the solo kill in level 1. And C9 set up this draft for the Annie. LYON knew it, as you talked about a bunch, Kobe, that kept flashing the Annie, clearly expecting the pick, as it wasn't banned in game 2, and they're just dealing with it.
This is a lesson. You know, it's all fun and games when you're chatting in game, but you talked about APA was doing IRL trash talk to Saint before this game. It's coming back to bite him. Saint's revenge here. Ticks over to level 15 on the Ahri. It's almost a full level lead, and they've got the vision advantage again.
And you see the damage on Sven's health bar. It was about twice that from one pass-through of the Infernum hitting a minion from Berserker's Aphelios. You guys were talking about that Infinity Edge, that fund earlier, Kobe. Well, guess what? The dividends have come home to the wallet. That wallet has exchanged it for a sword, and now he's got the Last Whisper in the inventory right next to it. This Aphelios is an absolute cannon for the next fight.
And he's already on to, you know, the... Wait a second, teleport up to the top side. Are they going to get chased down on Dokla?
They're definitely looking for it. You got Blabber up here as well. Equalizer already dropped. APA backing away. Dokla just trying to buy as much time as he can. C9 does not want to overcommit resources here.
Ooh,
so you can see they don't spend the all-out or the Tibbers, and they get their kill.
Now, APA is recalling. He does have teleport, so they can try and force on this timer. There's no Rumble. This is a big 4-on-5 power play from Cloud9.
And Saint has no teleport. Saint has to still walk all the way up here as LYON try to contest. The Tibbers still waiting over the wall from APA, using that for a little bit of scouting. Saint still making his way up. He's just about arrived to the fight. Watch Inspired, goes into World Ender, trying to make the approach here. He's caught with a wild growth as the Dredge line finds its way to the back line, but Berserker's already got the kill onto Vulcan. C9 push forward, shut down on Berserker. The Aphelios is into the picture, but so is APA. Saint is on the hunt. The Ahri is powerful, but Inspired is died. C9's looking for another one. Blabber might just fall. It's a double kill for Saint's Ahri. This man does not want to lose, and LYON, although it cost them casualties, will stop the Baron and hold the line against C9.
Saint is just vicious on this Ahri, man. Another big game from him, and LYON defend the Baron power play that Cloud9 start with a very good pick for themselves.
Yeah, I really like this. They get that pick, and then they're utilizing the Tibbers to make sure that they have vision in that side brush. Inspire goes forward, and they just full send on him. They put all the damage down onto him. He has to flash back. Saint is getting a ton of damage out, though. Nails a charm. They get that first kill, and then it is Thanatos and Blabber flying into the back line to kill off the Aphelios. Saint gets a reset. Here, watch Blabber, the sidestep on the charm, I thought might have allowed him to win out on that duel, but the flashback to the second part of the Orb of Deception hits him, and the red buff burn takes him down. Saint is just playing these fights out beautifully.
That is twice now in this second game that Saint has repositioned his orb with a flash to guarantee that he gets an outplay.
And I want to point out, his autos are important too, and that last auto, just enough damage too to make sure that he's low enough. Like, he's not missing any of these opportunities to weave in damage. Berserker, though, he was the focus. You know, Cloud9 deleted him in that fight. He knows they're coming for his head. They know they have to deal with that Aphelios. They're going to split Dragon for another Baron attempt here. They're going to put pressure and force LYON to come answer.
I mean, I just think it's really smart. C9 had such a good turn. They're pulling him into these fights.
Vulcan waiting in the banana brush, seeing if there's an opportunity to land a hook and start a fight. Saint flying through the Hex Gate. APA is separated from the rest of the team. He's coming around for the Tibbers. They find a lot of burst on the Berserker, but he isn't dead here just yet. Now he is. APA with a kill. Sven is also dropped to the backside of the fight, though. LYON's still ready to turn it. Dokla's low, but he is not dead. Vulcan falls next, and Blabber dies too. A double kill of a Saint. Thanatos stands alone, but he will not stand long. 5-for-1 ace for LYON.
Cloud9 might have taken out Berserker, but at what cost? Look at the replay. They go for him again. The former Cloud9 AD carry is getting the C9 special treatment in these team fights. Annihilated, but then look at the work the rest of the team can do while all the focus is on him. They've got multiple threats. Inspired here, doing so much damage while everybody else is focused elsewhere. And Saint, again, on this Ahri. Reset after reset after reset.
And critically in that fight, Sven had no sum, so they full send it. The coordination was really good. You turn off the lights, so Berserker never sees Annie coming, right? You know, you get in there with the stun, but Isles was so quick. Mikhail's the stun, Wild Growth, Shield, everything in on him, and Sven on the other side is just dying to the Aatrox. So once Sven falls, even though you kill Berserker, the Lion comp has way more sustained damage. Annie is all upfront burst.
Do we got Saint in our league or Knight here? We got to upgrade Medjai's Soul Stealer for this guy. Respect Saint's Ahri, man. This is crazy. He's got the Zonias on top of it for the extra safety. So this is a very good Medjai's angle. 605, they're going for some extra damage here onto Thanatos.
Yep, they'll lock him down on top of the equalizer there with the Gravitum. Overheated Flame Spitter is more than enough DPS. Thanatos falls. That is by far the most durable member of the C9 squad. LYON with their Baron for the next 2 minutes, with Thanatos dead for the next 45 seconds. They have every opportunity they want on Summoner's Rift to do whatever they want. They're going to push bottom with the large group. Saint split pushing over in the mid lane. Vulcan dredge lines a minion and needs to immediately hoof it right back to the safety of the base. LYON's pressure continues.
Well, they want to even up the series, Flowers. That's what they want. And the siege here, as you say, with these baroned up cannon minions, look at them destroying the tower. Saint in mid lane, whacking this one down. Bot side has a little bit of a window here where you get rotation over from Sven and Vulcan, but that's just going to delay it. The buffed up cannons here will finish the job. One more shot. Mid lane is wide open.
Man, oh man, this game from the very beginning has been about two things: Cloud9 miscommunication and Saint. Those are the two biggest factors so far in this one, it has to feel like. And the mid laner for LYON is up to a nearly 4,000 gold lead over his individual counterpart. This is just an Ahri masterclass from him.
Yeah, I mean, this whole game has been about Saint. He starts out with the solo kill onto APA, diving under his tower, and then because of his solo kill, the follow-up play on jungle meant that was their whole early game from LYON, was built off of Saint winning mid lane and then playing with Inspired.
It's going to be really tough now. Cloud9, only chance is trying to get just an instant deletion on one of these carries and hope that you can protect Sven and win the fight after that. Berserker has no flash for a little bit, but it's going to be back soon, and that's kind of the opportunity that they would have to try to capitalize on, but all of LYON is around him. Saint is the only one splitting, and Saint has so much mobility. The Verdant Barrier, the Zonia's, the Flash. There's just no way you're going to be able to one-shot Saint.
Yeah, he's going in after APA, looking for the solo kill here, but now has to flash back as Blabber reinforces with the Paranoia. But that's one of C9's most powerful tools, most powerful ultimates, used just to save APA from Saint, who still has 2/3 of his health bar, who's still applying pressure in the mid lane, while the rest of LYON pushes up top.
Okay, luckily for Cloud9, no more Baron buff though, so C9 keeping up the defenses, and they're actually not going to lose anything else in the base.
Yeah, APA even committed the teleport there just to try to come from a little bit of an unpredictable angle. It was spotted though, and Saint just backed off. He TP'd kind of to the side of his base, but that ward in the brush right there, that one actually spotted him. So wasn't actually able to get anything from that teleport.
All right. Cloud9 have been able to keep their base alive, but it's a 10,000 gold lead. So objective bounties are on for C9. If they can get a miracle pick, if they can assassinate someone very quickly, then maybe they can get a lot of comeback gold. But LYON in this commanding position, all you have to do is move in safely from 2 lanes, get your ward set up, and there won't be an angle for Cloud9 to surprise you. They're doing just that now, warding up this jungle that is going to lead to the Dragon in a minute and a half.
Man, I got some bad news for you if you want C9 to get a quick, clean burst onto somebody on LYON. Both solo laners have a stasis. Inspired now has Spirit Visage to amplify the healing of his Aatrox. Berserker just purchased Guardian Angel. And by the way, Lulu's on the team with the Mikhails. Bursting somebody down on this squad right now is next to impossible. C9 not only needs to execute perfectly, but LYON's got to make mistakes.
Now, if I'm on C9, this is where I hit my team with the cope. Saint's full build. He can't get stronger. He's already level 18. There's no more room for items.
Into the copium already, huh?
Oh yeah,
just a big old.
When you're
whip.
down
Okay.
10K, you're grasping for straws.
Well, I don't even think the straws are on C9's side at this point, because LYON is just in total dominance of this second game. 45 seconds until that next Drake spawns. It will not be Seoul, considering we are split even 2-2, but I don't really see a world where Cloud9 wants to take a fight in open neutral territory with a 10,000 gold deficit to try to take a third Hex Drake.
So we do have, I mean, we had the split push up on top side from Blabber here. I wonder what he was getting the last of his money for. Okay, he's got his 3-item power spike. He's got a Guardian Angel for himself. You want to get as powerful as possible for the next setup, but again, there's summoner spells on most people. Saint doesn't have flash, so maybe there's that.
I think for sure you just give this, just keep farming, hope that they make a mistake. The longer the game goes, the more explosive the fights can get. I mean, yes, obviously LYON is massively ahead, but one pick can really change things. And despite the fact that they are far down, once APA has his death gap, that's going to be a big injection of damage. Zven is on 4.5 completed items. He is going to hit hard.
But the dragon you can give, I'm down. But Baron, that's where we got to send it.
All right, that's where we're drawing the line in the sand?
And it's right here. So
okay.
Guardian Angel completed for Blabber. Well, the death cap's still not completed for APA, though.
100 gold is what he needs.
Okay, he's back now.
All right. He recalled, he bought the hat. Now he's coming back towards the fight, but remember, he doesn't have a TP. So he's got to walk all the way up here, but it looks like LYON is not going to immediately just rush the Baron. C9, they know the area is pretty dark. They need to be careful, and Vulcan was not careful enough. Saint with the charm locks up the Nautilus, but they don't quite find the kill. Paranoia used defensively once more as Dokla looks for the equalizer and slows down C9's retreat. Now APA has to flash away just to barely stay alive, but Sven is already down. Vulcan's gonna follow. C9 only 3 alive, and LYON want the rest of them. Dokla's dealing with Blabber. That Nocturne is nowhere near strong enough to do anything here. Berserker will snipe him down as APA can't escape the infernal chains, and Inspired drags him straight to hell. C9 lose everybody except for Thanatos, and LYON are barreling down mid lane.
They strike back with a huge gold lead here. 12,000. LYON are going to push us to 1-1 Flowers.
Thanatos will try to just make a little space, but that Pathmaker is not making much. The ace goes over to Berserker. LYON bounce back in game number 2. The finals for lock-in are delivering, and we're gonna have our series all tied up 1-1.
And Saint in all chat hits APA with easy. How can you get solo killed in this matchup as the Nexus is exploding?
If you leave this open, then we will go Rise. So now there's more pressure on you to deal with multiple picks.
And I'm just excited to see how this mid lane will evolve, right? Because there has been some trash talk back and forth in both of the games. And the one at the end of the last game from Saint felt like it had a little bit of heat behind it. You know, felt like there was a little bit of frustration getting released there. And it's going to make it that much more intense when both these players really want to win.
All right, looking at bans, things are a little bit different, but also still kind of the same. The Pantheon and Varus both remain banned out, but on the C9 side, they're first banning Anivia next to Illusion.
Yeah, as we said, now you have to choose, you know, because there's Rise Talia. So you can just do that sort of option on this side. And it looks like they're going to try for the 2-for-1. We'll see if the third ban comes through as a different counter pick.
They want to play Ziggs. They want to play Ziggs because Ziggs is not banned. And so they're saying, if you leave Ziggs up, we're banning LeBlanc. That is the traditional counter.
Yep.
Ari is already gone as well.
Ain't no way they're going to leave Ziggs up, though.
Well, yeah, with the LeBlanc ban, you have to ban it. I think it is kind of a nice little back and forth there.
This also does mean that the Talia, is definitely still open. C9 have first pick. They can lock that for APA if that's the play and get him on one of those champions that we know he can perform on, that we've seen him do it time and time again.
A lot of these AD junglers are up as pairings too. You could always go Talia Vi. Obviously, if you lock Talia, Vi could be taken away, but then you still have things like Jarvan or Wukong, which are decent setups for it as well. So I do expect them to just go Talia. I mean, let's be honest, it's one of APA's best champs, if not his best champ. So I think, regardless of how you feel the matchup goes, APA is going to be very comfortable on the Talia.
And then should be Rise from the side of Saint here, seeing that, and just go for the trade. But you don't necessarily need to do that early. Try and grab your pick of the junglers, the AD junglers that are getting a little bit, focused here. As you said, there's some pretty good options.
Yeah.
And bot lane priority. Okay, Ashe Seraphine possibilities early on. I love this lane right now, so definitely would not be mad if they slam an Ashe Seraphine lane early.
Yeah, I feel like you probably go Ashe Vi would be my expectation, unless they're really not worried about it, but that is kind of that traditional combo here that is up and available. Obviously, Pantheon has been banned out. Jarvan is kind of less consistent than the Vi as far as that Vi-Talia combo. So I would have expected that, but they're going to go with Seraphine instead. So they're clearly not worried about the Vi. They're saying, you know what, you can take it. And Vi has not been that effective, to be honest, when it has been coming out in the LCS.
Ashe Seraphine, certainly a nightmare of a duo to have to go against. The way that the champions complement one another with Ashe, setting up Seraphine to get her roots, to get her lockdown, it can be very oppressive.
Yeah, it is oppressive for your jungler as well. And that's one of the reasons you're not as worried about it, because not only are you a strong lane, your bot lane can get pushed in most lanes, but you also hawkshot to keep track of the Vi. And so you're constantly spotting Blabber, and you give Inspired that extra information. Inspired always picks and grabs a couple camps here and there and tries to work his way into a lead that way. Now for the bottom lane for Cloud9 though, do you throw Vulcan on Engage Champ and go to kill the Seraphine? Because that can be the angle. When you see Ashe Seraphines, teams could be like, you know what, we're not taking any more of this garbage, and they're gonna try and go for kill lane themselves.
Let's see what they're gonna go for here. Are they going to go with the standard Rise? No, instead it's going to be the Aurora. So a more aggressive option. Of course, this could be flexed up towards top lane too. I'm here for the vibes too. The vibes have been good today.
They're fantastic so far. Crowd's good, games are good, series has been good. We're having a good time.
I do think I'm expecting the Blitzcrank ban. That is kind of that traditional counter to some of these enchanters, specifically the Seraphine.
Those are the kill lanes.
It is high risk to be willing to play that, but Vulcan also really good on the Bard, which is a strong laner and something that does have engage against the Ashe that has no dash, so they are going to ban that out. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then the question is just, are you worried about the Blitz or not? Because Blitz is high risk, high reward. It can either look amazing or completely useless.
It's interesting because, the Bard ultimate really flexible too. It could have been used on their side as well, but let's see. I'm just assuming the Aurora is going to go into wherever, top lane here for the Renekton, because that's a really good matchup for the Aurora. And so I'm assuming they're still looking at the mid lane, and they're just going to let Rise go for now. As Cloud9, not too worried about it. I guess he would be running a lot of Merc Tread value then, because Ashe stun, Seraphine, so much Merc Tread value into double AP solo lanes. It is right now that value is already high, so maybe they're not too worried about it.
Well, since C9 was able to secure their Vi combo with the Talia in the first half of the draft, and Lions still don't have a jungler, C9 are looking at that Wukong. You mentioned it earlier, Azale, if the Vi did get stolen away, you would still have some powerful AD options like the Wukong and the Jarvan available to pair with the Talia afterwards. We'll see if the Jarvan ends up being the second one. No, instead, they're going to ban out that Yone that was hovered a little bit earlier by Lion.
I do wonder if C9 would go towards a Lucian lane, go for some laning power here, try to...
Well, they banned out.
Lucian? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Of course, yeah, it was banned out early in the first phase. So I'm trying to think what Sven would actually be playing towards here then, because most of his picks are already gone. The only thing that hasn't been banned or played already that he has still played is the Sivir. You can go towards obviously like Jhin and things like that, but Jhin to me has just been so weak, and is especially weak into enchanters who can absorb a lot of that damage and kind of reduce the kill threat there with the Curtain Call. Obviously gets more and more damage because it has that execute the lower you get, and shields kind of negate so much of that.
Man, the healing and shielding on this Lion squad is crazy. Getting Trundle on the front line as well with pillars to be able to create some more terrain for the battlefield.
Are they going to cook? Oh, they're going to go Mage Buy here. This is really cool. So this is terrorizing solo queue. People are playing a lot of Mel bot in solo queue, and Mel plus enchanters. They're doing ASOL plus enchanters. Basically, Control Mage plus enchanter bot is really, really abusive. The amount of poke you can land is very difficult to deal with for these AD carries. So you are playing heavily to dominate in that 2v2. And it's new season. You can't lane swap away from it.
And it's new Mel. So it's really good with the Nami because you can get that slow to make it more damage off of your Q, where they made it harder to hit all of the parts of your Q, but they upped the damage of it. So if the enemy is slowed and it's easier to hit all of it, they're going to get you know, a lot of value there, a lot of damage. So that is going to be dangerous as far as the bottom lane goes. We've got a lot of weapons down there. I definitely foresee some roams, some intervention as well. And we round it out with the Zehen top for Dokla over here. Again, when you have Ash Seraphine, your bruisers will thrive. If you can just clump up into this ball comp, then you're kind of a death ball here with Zehen and Trundle on the front line, Ash Seraphine on the back with all the utility there. So LYON here definitely have a very dangerous mid game.
And LYON have great setup for the engages. You throw down a Trundle Pillar, it becomes very hard to actually dodge out from the Crystal Arrow, from the Encore, from the Aurora follow-up there. A lot of tools, but of course you have to remember, Mel can, you know, reflect an arrow. You know, you can reflect some of these abilities back. So we'll see how it is going to work out. Don't see a lot of mages in pro these days, but it's something you see a ton of in solo queue. So I'm excited to see how Sven and Vulcan can pilot this 2v2.
Yeah, see how well they can chain their CC as well. There's huge CC setups from both sides, so that's why I expect some roams, you know, some jungler attention, maybe some mid laners down there even. Because if one of those squishy champs gets hit with some CC, they will chain it.
All right, time for game number 3 here of this series. If you're a Cloud9 fan in the audience, you got to be hoping that they're more aligned here in the early game. Game number 2 had a lot of mistakes with the C9 decision-making, as now Saint walks a little bit close to Sven and APA there, does take a chunk of damage. Tough stuff.
Yep, and Blabber looking to reclaim his throne. You know, these are some of his accolades. He had been pretty much unanimously the best jungler in the LCS for a long time. But over the years, some more junglers came in and started to either compete with him or, in some cases, eclipse him. Nowadays, people have talked a lot more about Inspired as that unanimous top of the table. And Inspired on this invade, trying to push him out. And Blabber really wants to reclaim that #1 spot. But to do it, you got to get through Inspired.
And that's difficult, especially when Inspired picks Trundle into your Vi and goes into your invade. He has won 6-1 in the head-to-head best of 5 wins. And he's starting this one out with abusing that Trundle power, walking into him and splitting the map.
All right, as we're getting things started here in the jungle, we've got Kangas standing by for an interview with Rainover.
All right, Rainover, very late pick Mel there. What was your message to the team after seeing this pivot in the bot lane?
I mean, honestly, the Mel pick is not as familiar. I think we've faced once in Scrim, and then we did like kind of struggled in lane. So we'll see. But I think Ash Seraphine should be still fine. And just about the game, like they're playing like Vi, Talia, so their playmaking is very strong. But our engage is kind of low, but our team fight is very strong. So we should just keep being able to keep fighting around the objective as much as possible.
All right, keep focused on the objectives. Now, you've had a couple series in a row now, the lower gauntlet run here in the lower bracket. Do you see it as a buff that you got to play 2 series ahead of this this big Sunday's final?
Yeah, I mean, I think lower bracket actually, I mean, I think I've won most of the, like when I won the split, I think most of the time it was just lower bracket run. I think the good part about it is you just get more experience, you just get your momentum going on, like flow going on, and then you just play more game, you get used to the stage match, your ring condition with the comp you're playing is getting more clear and clear, you know, you problem solve, so I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Any more ranged top laners for Dokla, huh?
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, thank you so much. Back to the casters.
Looks like Blabber kind of made the wrong read here. He was assuming that Inspired would have gone down towards his bot, crossed there to try to defend, and now it's a red buff on Inspired, and Blabber, he might just get chased down.
Yeah, Inspired is after him, and you do not beat Trundle in a duel like this. The Vault Breaker is interrupted, and this one's going to be donated over to Saints Aurora so that he gets a blue buff on top of it. Disaster in the early game for Blabber.
And again, Inspired does this to so many junglers where he tries to remove their options and wait a second, the bottom side lane on the chase down here.
There's a lot of damage on Vulcan, still has 200 HP left, so he will be able to get away for now. The volley tags him again, brings him down to 100. So LYON not only getting that first blood, getting the extra money and the blue buff onto Saints Aurora, but also winning out in the 2v2 bottom with the power of the Ash Seraphine.
I mean, it's just so brutal for Blabber. That's back-to-back games. It happened in the Nocturne game as well, you know, losing that 2v2 and then Inspired is in your jungle the whole game. The same thing is going to be true now. He gets level 1 invaded, pushed off, and I have to assume Blabber's read was he was going to go red to red and defend the bot side. So he's saying, okay, you're going to expect me to go to red, so you're going to go to red, so I'm going to go to your blue and do those camps instead. But unfortunately for him, that's not where Inspired went, and he ends up face-checking, giving over first blood, not to Inspired, but to Saint, which is even worse. So that's a brutal start for Blabber back-to-back.
Especially after Saint had such a killer game on Ahri last game. We heard Rainover talking about momentum, talking about getting in your flow, and I feel like Saint is in that flow state right now.
Also, I just went back, and when Blabber crossed over mid at 2 minutes and around 25 seconds, there is a tiny split second where the minion moving up does see vision of him, and there are 2 blue pings from LYON. So they also see him on the cross as well. And we have seen a lot of these games with the early jungle going one way, just snowballing out of control in the current season, in the current meta. And especially with a Trundle here in the hands of Inspired, looks quite nice. I will say as well, though, I want to touch on the bottom lane as well after your point, Flowers.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, you're talking about the jungle domination determining the entire outcome of the game. That's what Blabber did to Griffin all the time in their FlyQuest games. He was the one on the giving end of the jungle punishment, and now the receiving end is not nearly as much fun, Mr. Kobe.
It's not fun at all. No. The other thing I was going to say for the bottom lane is the Mel reflects, there's a lot of talk about the lane, but for later on, the ultimates, like Seraphine ult getting reflected into your team, just destroys your whole team. So you have to be very careful.
All right, we'll see how well those rebuttals can be timed by Sven here in the bottom lane. 1,000 gold lead for LYON early, mostly, once again, on Saint and Inspired. You can see Blabber is a full 3 camps behind in his jungle clears because of the fact that everything got disrupted so badly. As Saint goes in between worlds, APA only level 5 here on the Taliyah, trying to get away, but the twofold Hex comes right on back, and Saint finds a solo kill on APA for the 2nd game in a row.
Had the experience advantage, because of that kill that he got. He had the blue buff, he gets the XP advantage, hits level 6, immediately goes for it and kills off APA. And this is feeling suspiciously like the last game, mid and jungle out to a roaring start here for LYON. They're going to be able to grab the dragon as well, and such confident movement here, from their bot lane as well. But I mean, this is APA trying to interrupt the recall. Saint just goes in, and the flash was on nothing. I mean, he didn't actually avoid anything at all. The weirding hit, the twofold hex hit.
GG, no flash.
GG and no flash gets the guy. I mean, yeah, he's level 6. Good burst damage here from Saint. And as you say, no flash.
That is tough, man. Flashing away when the twofold Hex has already tagged you. You're going to take the return damage. You're avoiding absolutely nothing. And now that summoner spell is down. Remember, this is Taliyah. She doesn't have mobility in the kit except for the long-range Weaver's Wall, which you're not going to use right there in combat to escape in the moment. So he's really vulnerable now.
I mean, it just seems like panic moments, honestly, in back-to-back games here from APA. Not mistakes that you would necessarily expect him to make. Once you're hit by the twofold Hex, you have to flash the weirding, right? You have to flash the E. That is the thing that matters. You can't avoid the pullback. So, flashing after you've been hit before the weirding has been used is just a big mistake. And that is back-to-back games. He gets solo killed. This one obviously was made harder because Blabber had already died to him, and that gave Saint the XP and the gold advantage. But still, just not acceptable deaths at this level if you want to be the champion at the end of the day.
Mid-jungle is having so much impact in this series. Remember, even back to game number 1 that was so close for so long, that Baron fight that ended up pulling things into the favor of C9. It was Blabber winning the Smite fight. It was APA living with 5% HP and then still contributing afterwards. So C9 coming out on top there, but then LYON dominating in game 2, and now it's looking like LYON's off to a strong early start here again in the 3rd one.
I will say, though, quietly, look at the lead in top lane that Thanatos has opened up. He is up 25 CS right now, 24 CS in that top lane in an isolated 1v1. He has been giving Dokla the business so far, so it's going to have to be a big performance from Thanatos if he wants to win this game, right? He has a big individual lead, and he's the only one that's doing well.
And guess what? It is hard for Renekton to win games versus Ashe Seraphine comps. So this death ball that LYON have constructed you're probably, if you're the one super far ahead, you're probably getting a Trundle ult on your head, and then the enemy team's got these Seraphine shields and all the stuff you have to get through, all the CC. So we'll see if Inspired uses it on Thanatos or uses it on Blabber, probably whoever dives deeper.
And you can see Dokla realizes, you know what? I'm losing, but who cares? The rest of the team is doing well. I just need to survive. So he's going early Bramble. He's saying, yeah, I'm not going to contest you 1v1. I'm playing for minions. I'm playing for experience. And I'm playing for my mid jungle and my bot to carry me because all of them are winning.
And he's playing for jungle right now because he went to go chase the Vi off those grubs. Uses his little time from top lane to make Blabber scurry away.
I think the movement has been really impressive from Berserker and Isles. When you play against these double mage bots, if they are hitting everything, it is so oppressive, and you start getting whittled down more and more. You stop not being able to contest. Berserker's just been positioning so aggressively. He's always standing in the face of Sven. He's dodging out these skill shots that are much more slow-moving after the changes, after that rework to this champion. So Berserker playing confidently, and every time you miss one of those skill shots, Ashe can step forward and trade auto attacks with you, and that is going to be in her favor.
And they've just been pushing the lane here. Priority on the bottom side. So thank you for the picture-in-picture. Blabber goes back afterwards after Dokla has to go answer the wave under his tower. And they will at least get their grubs finished.
Yes, but Kobe, you and I are both of the same belief system that the grubs are a consolation prize at best. So C9 will get that, but you do have to have some pressure on some turrets to get any value out of the extra damage to them.
I thought you were going to say something different because you're both also of the opinion that the grubs are ugly.
Well,
they're
yes, the grubs
they're
are
bad
ugly,
and ugly, and they should feel bad too.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of they're ugly cute. They're funny looking.
No, they're just
It's
ugly.
like a pug. They're the pugs of League of Legends.
No, pugs are fine. Pugs are good dogs. Grubs are ugly dogs.
The producers have let me know that the control room agrees with me.
No, okay,
so
well, that's fine.
Is the crowd fans of the grubs? Are the grubs cute?
Thank you, crowd.
Sounded like the grubs are cute, Flowers.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. You guys are just finding out. You're the weirdos. How you like them apples?
Shocking discovery, but you know what?
Yeah. Calling the grubs ugly, that means you have an ugly personality.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Mr. Turk immediately.
Well, now he's just being mean.
Well, hey.
I'm letting it go to my head. I take it back.
You know what that's really good at? That's good for killing ugly grubs. But
Now
there's none
Flowers
left on
is
the
sad.
map.
Look what you did.
There's none left on the map. No grubs to kill, whether they're cute or ugly or whatever. But here in 20 seconds, we are going to have our second Drake of the game. There's a replay of them.
Is it?
Just give them a little scratch on the head, you know?
They've got like big purple pimples on their back and like the spike. I don't know. Their teeth are sideways.
We got a little hawk shot.
Like I said, the pugs of the rift.
Berserker was in that replay. There you go. Get the little hawk shot in there. Keep the vision. Regardless, Inspired bottom side. Got the crab on bottom side as well. Dragon immediately started up. And let's see if they can transition over. I mean, your mid lane priority is huge here with Saint once again pushing the wave and slooping into this line brush on the Aurora. But with the Thanatos teleport, they say, okay, you're teleporting Thanatos down here. I guess you want the dragon. Fair enough. You can have it.
Yep, there's the... Hey, at least they're getting some leverage out of this Renekton that's been hard winning his lane, right? Even though he will have more difficulty later on in the game, fighting into the Ashe Seraphine, dealing with the Trundle stat debuffing like we were talking about, he can still come down here and kind of flex those alligator muscles a little right now as Sven has to flash away from the enchanted crystal arrow.
He did not have his reflect up and available, so had to flash there. Used it on an earlier little trade with Isles. Also worth noting, not only did Thanatos TP down, but because he was winning that lane so hard, he was able to push out the wave, clear out the next one, TP down. He didn't really lose anything. Often on these plays, it can be so expensive these days because the crystalline growth stacks up that sometimes you TP down for a dragon, you lose multiple plates, and it doesn't feel worth it at all. In this case, he basically lost nothing.
And I'm glad that you bring up the fact that the Mel rebuttal wasn't available. It does have one of the longest cooldowns for a basic ability in the game. 35 is the base cooldown at rank 1. It's really, really tough if you can end up, 26 at 25.93. That was I don't know if you guessed that or if you had looked at it beforehand, but I'm going to assume that you guessed it because that's a really, really good guess.
Thank you, Flowers.
He's just going to nod.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think you got it figured out, as it looks like Thanatos has LYON figured out here, tries to turn the burst back around onto Saint, but no, they brought Inspired and Saint together. Although the play almost went sideways, LYON still gets their man.
Good try there from Thanatos. You know, the flash forward, the stun onto Saint. When he went between worlds there, threw down the ulti, it didn't quite clip Thanatos, so it didn't have that damage. He had to kind of commit forward to get that kill. and almost turned around on him. But again, this is the knock-on effects of that early laning going the way of Saint, because traditionally you think of Talia as the one that's going to be getting out of that mid lane, using the Weaver's Wall to assist these side lanes. But now the one advantage for C9 has been effectively cut in half, because Dokla was the one who got a kill up there.
Yeah, that's tough for C9 as this early game continues to be rough water. The Dragons are at least tied thanks to Thanatos' presence at the previous one, so it's not like LYON are just stacking up a ton of pressure around an early Drake Soul. Remember that is what we heard Reignover say in Kangas's interview. Their team, yeah, they're kind of afraid of the playmaking of C9, but they have really strong team fights and they want to fight around objectives. So C9 at least getting that early Drake to shut some of that down as Saint goes forward again, just looking for this powerful burst against APA.
But I mean, if you told me that you were going to pick Vi and you hadn't pressed R by 14 minutes, I would tell you to not play Vi. So, that is
character.
Exactly.
Reconsider your life choices.
Exactly. It's like the game has just gone so bad for them so early that Vi has been tracked everywhere. Blabber and APA went into recovery mode very quickly, so they haven't been able to utilize the whole point of picking these two champions, which is this combo. Guaranteed point-and-click CC into the seismic shove, trying to 100 to 0 people.
Yeah, I mean, if you also told me you're going to pick Talia and you're going to get solo killed at level 6 and then you're going to flash and then...
Hey, it was level 5.
I would also tell you don't do that.
It was Saints level 6.
Yeah,
that was the problem.
Exactly.
So we still, we have not seen Weaver's Walls. We have not seen Vi combos. We have not seen C9 find any of this playmaking that they're supposed to be drafting for, as Blabber is down in the Dragon Pit, but there's no dragons.
And it is crazy for people who have been following the whole lock-in tournament as Big Doke's up here.
Yeah, Grim Deliverance looking to set this up. Dokla wants to go all the way underneath the turret. He flashes in. He's got the determination stacked all the way up, so he'll resurrect afterwards. And Big Dokes gets the big solo kill.
Yeah, he's putting that money to work. Trinity Force done. Yes, time to go all in.
I mean, Thanatos had this massive early lead, goes for the quick eclipse, but then he gets 3-man dove. That gold goes to Dokla. Dokla gets to complete his much more powerful, much more expensive Triforce. And now the shoe is on the other foot. Everywhere they are losing. LYON starting to really run away with this one. C9 need to make some plays. They got to do something because they are just bleeding out across the map.
I think that shoe is being applied to Thanatos' butt right about now. He has had enough of this early lane bullying, and Dokla now has an individual 259 gold bounty on his head. LYON is up 2,000 gold as a team. There's a lot of vision control around this bottom side river, though, for C9. They're looking at the next Drake. It's spawning in under 45 seconds. Here's Dokla in Swiss and playoffs. We've been talking about Saint leveling up as an individual between those times. Dokla is only getting stronger.
He has been looking really good individually, bringing out a ton of cool picks that even though they haven't come out now in this series, it's things that are in the back of your mind, right? You have to consider that in the draft. It makes it more difficult. My only question is, why was he looking so happy on the left there when he was down 700 gold?
Because he knew he was about to have a glow up.
Oh. It's the character building.
Yeah, he was looking forward to the future.
Love me a top laner that will play weak side tanks and with a smile on their face. Honestly, though, the glow up from LYON as a team, here we go.
Hold on, though. APA and Blabber finally finding their chance to make a play, and a shutdown on Saint is exactly what the doctor ordered for Cloud9.
There's your Vi and Talia that you ordered in Champion Select. Vi ult used, and Aurora killed. Perfect timing there for Cloud9. They get in, they've got the vision set up, they have the people in the place ahead of the objective, and they make it count.
How Dokla here. Shout out to the signs. The vlogs at Worlds were fire, I'm not gonna lie.
No, that was some of my favorite stuff from Worlds this past year. But now LYON still with a 1,500 gold lead, thinking about invading the enemy jungle. They've got Inspired with the bot lane duo. So much lockdown, so much pressure. Dokla is going to take out the tier 1 turret here in the top lane at the same time. Thanatos 0-2 on the Renekton. Yeah, he has Eclipse, but he's still not feeling super strong against a LYON team that's looking to make moves.
And guess what? Even though you...
even let us guess.
All right, guess. What's my point gonna be?
He's calling your bluff, buddy.
Yeah. Dokla's scaling. He's looking really strong.
Nope. You're going to be playing into a team comp with the Seraphine healing and shielding we talked about, buffing up bruisers, against a Spirit Vision's second item Trundle. The healing is insane on this front line, so the Death Ball comp is going to form a ball of death very soon. And like, how are you ever going to kill Inspired now? The healing is going to be out of control on this champion. So it's one of those situations where, like, do we even get heel cutting, or do we, like, can we burst anybody? Do we try and play side lanes with our, you know, Talia and our Vi? Maybe we, like, pick people off instead.
Yeah. It's kind of a similar situation to last game where you end up in this spot where, okay, you have to dive on Berserker and kill him, but then you realize Inspired is who you're fighting through, Dokla is who you're fighting through. They have such high consistent DPS. If you're trying to walk past the Zehen and the Trundle, it is not a winning proposition.
Yeah. And one of our chat messages that popped up, Yozu saying double bot lane Mage mentioned. That's one of the challenger players at the start of the year when all the pros were doing their race to the top of the ladder. Yozu and Cupik were a challenger duo who were constantly playing double Mage bot. And now we'll see if Sven and Vulcan can survive the aggro from LYON here in the mid lane. APA rides in and Sven gets the execute on Berserker. The power of the Mel right there. He gets enough stacks for that ultimate to claim the kill.
Golden Eclipse, able to knock him down. It did not look powerful for a long time, but he hit that one thing. Nice reflect.
With a nice seismic shove, too. Dokla's now in a very dangerous spot. Has to use Grim Deliverance to try to get away. Blabber thought about maybe wanting to finish that off, but he would not have had enough damage.
Turns out C9 are the true ball of death all along. They group up back-to-back plays for them. It's all about preparation for these plays and being able to pick off another one, get more resources. Here's a running away Thanatos. Those should be fine. But these are big plays for Cloud9 in their efforts to get back into this game and actually get themselves, you know, some fighting capabilities. So, you know, the mage on bottom lane here is going to be shredding magic resistance as well. Sven goes for the pickup with the Bloodletter's Curse, which will be very effective for him and for APA and for Nami damage that's being added on top of all these things. You really do have to respect some of these mage bottom lanes. I believe the shout out that you mentioned there, Flowers, for Cupik and Yozu, or pretty famous as well for the Zoe and Lux combo, which is a truly, truly frightening CC combo and crazy burst. I honestly do hope that we get there in Fearless at some point, but this one, here's another look at the extra damage from Sven.
I mean, this is the thing. You can feel like you've dodged every skill shot the entire game, but all of a sudden the mages hit their spells and you just die. And this time Berserker ate the full queue. The stacks were up there. So even after the disengage, he had the Golden Eclipse ready, is able to knock him down. And I mean, that's the frustration when you're playing against, whether it is Nami and Mel or Lux and Zoe or really any of them. You have to dodge everything because if you get hit by one bubble, one root, everything else is going to be guaranteed right thereafter.
C9 fighting their way back into this game. They've got a one dragon advantage. They're only down 500 gold now as LYON are going to try to use the Herald here in the mid lane. Weaver's Wall summoned up to make it so the Herald charge is not successful. C9 doing everything they can to beat this thing down, but meanwhile, LYON are duoing the Baron and C9 seem to have absolutely no idea. Thanatos is wrapping around, maybe looking to make a play here in mid. C9 still unaware of the Baron. It's down to 1/3 HP. Now they're moving over. Baron down to 4K. Tidal wave coming through. Inspired and Dokla both low. Thanatos makes his way into the pit. Blabber wants to try to steal it away. He flashes over the wall. But no, it's Dokla securing the Baron here for LYON. But Inspired is already down. And LYON's got to try to get everybody else out. Honestly, you lose your jungler, but you claim a Baron. I'm going to call that worth for LYON.
That was huge. Inspired didn't even get his smite off, I believe. So Blabber goes in, tries to land the smite combo. But the Zehen is the one who finishes it off, and LYON get away there. That was so risky. If they lose the Baron, that is tragic for their game.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I mean, Sven, when he gets that feeling, gets that inkling, then he blue trinkets over by the Baron, then everybody presses the emergency buttons, Flowers. You've been in those games. Everybody get in the pit now! And the smites are going off, and the Baron last hit goes over to the top laner, and it's craziness all over. But look at that Baron power play. You saw the gold lead. So here we're going to get the, assuming we were going to get the vision toggle, but they're working on the Baron the entire time. Nice. Here we go. So here you're going to see it gets whittled down, and then Sven's blue trinket, he's going to say, they're acting a little suspicious.
Yep, no one answered the wave on bot lane tower. That is generally a giveaway. No one's answering those side waves. They spot it. And now watch when Blabber goes in. His smite is for 1400. I believe he smites at 1480. Tries to combo it here as he gets into the pit. Has to Q to get in range. Decides, you know what, I got to flash in. And he's going to go for the smite here. Down to 1480 was the last number I saw. 1489. There's the smite. Tried to combo it. He actually had Inspired in the R, though, so he couldn't actually land any of his own damage at the same time. So it was basically just a guess of when is Inspired going to press smite? Is he going to press it first or second? And unfortunately for Blabber, he gets a smite off, but Dokla's damage comes through and steals that away from what would have been the 80 remaining health.
So one of the consequences of that after the fact as well, C9 now on Soul Point on a Hex Rift. So if they can get the next Hex Drake, that will be a massive power infusion for them. LYON are going to try to do everything they can with this last 60 seconds of Baron to get some standing gold on the map from these turrets. You saw they got the tier 1 in the bottom lane, but it's still only a 2-2 turret game, Azael.
I mean, Mel Poke is already so annoying. If you get Hextech Soul on top of that, you know, the E from, oh, is they're going to go for a potential engage?
Yeah, but that engage is immediately stopped. Vulcan there hits a nice bubble. The Solar Snare from Sven is also such a pain to try to work through as a melee champion, and LYON won't find anything.
Man, crazy stuff so far this series. What a banger. We are 1-1, and this game has drawn back to even gold lines as well. After this Baron, again, negative on the gold for the Baron power play because of the kills that happened afterwards. But Cloud9 are on that 3 dragon, you know, dragon soul point of pressure at the moment, and it's 2.5 minutes, or 2 minutes and 50 seconds away from it, and they're already camping in brushes and looking to blow flashes because those flashes will be the big difference maker in that big Dragon Soul fight. So Blabber's spending a lot of time waiting on this brush, and they had the early wards too.
People always talk a lot about, you know, Renekton having a weak late game. Is Blabber?
Yeah, Blabber wants to try to get away with the Blast Cone. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow won't find the mark, but Blabber's still down to 60% HP. Gets back away with a Vault Breaker. Is now Inspired's going to be your target, separated from the rest of LYON here with a Weaver's Wall. He's got to be careful. The Golden Eclipse could execute him if he gets too low. Berserker also exiting now next to Isles and Inspired. That was real scary there for Blabber.
It was very scary, and then almost was able to turn around that Inspired, but they couldn't lock him down and knock him down. But anyway, Thanatos, you're not even on Asterix right now, so already Renekton difficult to teamfight on late game. Really all you have is Flash Stun, but not even having that Asterix means he is very squishy at this point of the game and is going to be difficult for him in these fights.
All right, C9 will take out the tier 1 turret in the mid lane. That will be their 3rd turret of the game. All 3 outers removed now from the LYON battlements. We have less than 2 minutes until that Dragon Soul spawns. LYON has got to be ready for this. They do not want that Hex Soul in the hands of Cloud9, not with the game being this close. This is so similar to game number 1, where remember, we had a gold lead that didn't go past 1,000 either way until about 30 minutes into the game.
Absolutely. It's just been such a competitive series back and forth here. Vulcan obviously has had the Mikhails for a bit, but that is going to make it so much harder again. You're really dependent upon the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Encore. You have the Mel Reflect to deal with. You have the Mikhails Cleanse to deal with now as well. So C9 going to have a lot of tools to be able to absorb that initial engage. And you touched on it with Zehen. It's true with Trundle as well. When you're trying to run straight at that Mel, you're trying to run through the Tidal Wave, through the Solar Snare, through all of the Unraveled Earth and the rocks that are getting thrown at you. C9 does have a pretty good kite back.
They do have a good kite back. I think you can just fight whoever's in front for LYON, though. I don't think you have to dive with this team comp. You can just do front to back. You've got a Trundle on your team with 2 Trinity Force champions and just try and play off of your range anyway. Kill whatever's in front of you that you can actually hit. Pop that Trundle ultimate and just try to melt them. But we'll see if that is actually the case, because the Dragon Soul is going to arrive shortly, Flowers. 50 seconds on the clock. Everybody trying to do their prep work. If you can get a little advantage out of one of these lanes, out of one of these wards on the side, it could be everything.
Well, the clock is having a little bit of a problem right now. I don't know if it's 50 seconds or if it's 10 seconds. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow flies out, and it connects onto Thanatos. With the defense from Cloud9 is already there. They're trying to hold the line long enough, but Thanatos has already died. C9 falling back as LYON find their pick, and Berserker hits his target dead on.
Yeah, the snipe from downtown and the assist to the pillar from Inspired to keep him there and make sure that it hits. Now, C9, 4v5. Can they pull it off? They're hoping for a steal. They're hoping to create some chaos here and get a soul out of it.
The only ultimates left up are Inspired Subjugate and Sven's Golden Eclipse. C9, they back away. They don't want anything else to do with this. It's a 4v5. They don't want to risk it.
I mean, this was just an incredibly risky spot for Thanatos to be recalling in. He's recalling in that side brush with them around, gets spotted by Saint. I'm not sure if he already knew he was in there or if it was just him kind of walking up and sussing him out that he was in that brush, but he finds him, and that ends up costing C9 their chance at Soul for now. Of course, they are going to be able to get another crack at it later on.
What a crazy game, man. 49.9 to 50.0, 1,000 gold. This one could not really be much closer, as we'll take another look at how Thanatos got caught here.
He got spotted walking in. He tried to like loop around, but he was still in vision, I'm pretty sure. I would want to see the vision from the very start.
Too.
Yeah, so that to me was a mistake from him. That's just a lazy recall. He wanted to base TP back with hysterics, but gets caught, and that is a punishing lazy recall. And now LYON are on the Baron here. They're going to try to force.
Okay, Thanatos has already used his empowered teleport. He's got the extra shield. Baron still at about 11,000 HP, so not super low. LYON can't just try to brute force this here just yet. Dokla loses half health, but he eats all of the super tasty honey fruits, gets himself back away as C9 continue looking to try to find a pick as LYON make their retreat. They're not going to get anyone. They will at least steal away the enemy blue. Blabber has access to that one. This Vi still only level 15, still about a full level behind Inspired, catches up slightly thanks to the blue buff EXP as C9 will retake control over the top side river, but they have not cleared out all of the vision that LYON left behind. Vulcan is trying to sweep away some of that, but both of those wards still standing for now. Thanatos will sweep away the top one, but there is still this one little pocket of vision right here at the bottom side of this upper river.
And look at that damage from Sven. All the poking from this Mel has been pretty heavy. Solo laners definitely still at the top though, and we'll see about that fight over the approach to Baron. So far, Cloud9 doing a good job defending these wards, defending that vision.
And you can see the Sterix gauge for Thanatos now completed for the Renekton as well. That's the item that we were calling out. He really needs this if he wants to be able to survive in team fights, and now he's got it. Death's Dance also up for Dokla, gives a lot more survivability and drain tanking to the Zehen, and you can see he's working on the Maw of Malmortius next.
And you can see Thanatos still on those brown bags, doesn't have the upgraded boots, so didn't have Merc Shreds or anything like that to deal with all of the CC that was landing on him, and was obviously pretty heavily punished for that. Sven just trying to step forward and flex on him. Look at Dokla.
Yeah, Dokla coming around from the flank, but meanwhile the fight has already started. Blabber going in after Saint. The exhaust is there, but he goes between worlds and gets away for now. Blabber with a chase with the ball breaker, but he finds his mark. Thanatos trying to use the ultimate to get enough survivability here on the Renekton. Sven is also incredibly low. Everybody on LYON still with plenty of HP, but they've lost their mid laner. Blabber's still looking for an angle, but Blabber gets tagged by Berserker. The Vi is just dead, but a beautiful seismic shove, and Berserker's gone too. Thanatos to the front line as Dokla lands with Grim Deliverance and leads the charge after the C9 lines. Sven still firing back with the Radiant Volleys. He rebuttals, he gets the root onto Isles, but the Solar Snare just doesn't have the range to follow it up. And LYON back away, C9, both sides losing two.
I mean, these fights are crazy, but Blabber was playing the early stages so well in this fight. It went bit bad later on. You can see Dokla was on the flank here on the side. APA throws down the Weaver's wall. Sage is on the retreat, and Blabber is able to chase after him and finally get this finish off. But as they're looking for this kind of re-engage as they're going back and forth, Blabber goes in a little bit too far as he Qs over the wall. He has no flash, so when he Qs in here, Berserker realizes you've got no ult, you've got no flash, you've stepped too far forward. He gets tagged by the slow, the encore comes through, the root and stun is there, and then it's just madness.
Yeah, the seismic shot from APA then answers the kill onto Berserker. Then they chase down with the Bruisers following afterwards, and the crowd is loving it. It is just back and forth between these two juggernauts of teams in the LCS finals, and we're back into the mid lane. Flowers, we're back into the action.
And Saints right back between worlds. Sven's gonna be the target, but he pops the rebuttal for safety, then has to flash away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Dokla was wrapping around on the right side flank and could have followed that up with some serious threat if Sven gets caught by that CC. Still such a close game. Dokla moving into the bot lane now, seeing if there's an angle here after Thanatos. Should be able to tag him with the dreaded return. There it is. The Renekton under some serious pressure as he continues his retreat.
And that lost flash is honestly off of a little mistake there from Vulcan. He used the Mikhails early. I don't even know what he was trying to Mikhails there, but it was just like a slow or something like that. So once the Mikhails is used, Sven can no longer tank that Crystal Arrow, so it means he loses the flash. That is going to be a big deal potentially for these subsequent Dragon fights.
And they're going to teleport in. Phase checking into the darkness.
Weaver's wall, not going to find a whole lot. LYON still trying to back away. Berserker gets tagged with a slow, but nothing more. Inspired clearing out some of the vision here in the banana brush. Very important when you're fighting around a dragon. All 5 alive on both sides. Saint still far away, back by the chicken pit on the Lion jungle. As Thanatos walks a step forward, Dread Return gonna grab him. Sven under pressure, Inspired going in after the enemy carry. Blabber tries to go after Saint, but he gets away between worlds. Thanatos has already killed Berserker though, and Lion are in some serious danger. Inspired's already dead. APA goes on a killing spree, but now he's gonna flash away. Otherwise, Dokla might have taken him out. The determination bar is full. Saint still trying to find a little bit more damage as Dokla keeps fighting. He'll finally get knocked down, but he'll come back with full HP. He tries to get a little bit more drain tanking. Dokla's still very healthy. C9 might have got the extra kill, but their health bars are blinking red.
Lion tried to flank around and put extra pressure onto Sven and try and punish this flashless Mel. Even Inspired flashing in to go point blank on him, but they can't quite get him. Kiting from Sven, very nice. And Cloud9, they still have the Guardian Angel on Blabber, so they're going to start the Dragon up.
And one of the critical things is that Inspired is the one who died on the Lion side. There's no chance to contest here with a smite, and that is Hex Tech Soul for C9, 34 minutes into the game.
These fights are just insane this late into the game. It's on a knife's edge. Watch this attempted flank from Saint as he tries to get past Blabber. He's able to, but on the other side, it's Sven getting targeted. It's him retreating, but it was Berserker dying so early on thanks to Thanatos.
Huge stuff there. And then on the other side of the map, they burst down Inspired because of the overcommitment there into the attempted dive. Dokla can get back up with the passive, but as you know, nobody else does get chased down. They kite it out nicely. Isles as well, the Seraphine ult going over the top. He was trying to follow the play on this Sven, but it didn't hit anyone in that fight, and they need that to land.
Talked earlier about how it is so hard for the Renekton to find efficacy in these late game team fights. I'd say right there is about the best effect you could have. Killing Berserker at the very start, you saw the frustration on his face, and now C9 with their Hex Soul are starting to bear it.
Dokla is bot here. They're trying to force the TP out, and Sven completed his death cap, so he is super strong now with the soul and death cap.
Okay, here's the TP. Everybody from Lion is ready to challenge for this, but Blabber might just die. Beautiful enchanted crystal arrow on the C9 jungler as Lion nearly find the pick. Saint might just be able to knock him into the Guardian Angel at least. Blabber's gonna revive. Saint tries to get away. Sven's already down, and Saint will follow. Lion looks for more. They know that Blabber is low, but it's still a 4v4 on the Rift. Thanatos trying to escape. He's got the dominance for the extra health for now. C9 managed to clear their retreat.
All the ults are down except for Zehen, except for Dokla. He can have a big re-engage. They're wrapping back around. Vision is on Baron. There's a control ward in the back.
They're just going to start it because Sven is down. That's the biggest poke for C9 here, and they still have so much consistent DPS with Berserker.
Okay, Blabber's starting the red, trying to just secure that one real quick, but the Baron is slowly losing HP, down to about half right now. Remember that Thanatos does not have the dominance ready to go. Dokla's going to be the target here of APA with the threaded volley as the Grim Deliverance from Dokla lands in the middle of everybody, but where's the damage? Thanatos has already died on the other side of the fight, but now Dokla's out of the picture here too, and Inspired is about to drop. A little bit more from Blabber, might get it done, but no, a double kill from Berserker with a focus fire. He's killing everybody. Arrow after arrow finds Cloud9, and Inspired will secure the last kill.
These fights being determined by the slimmest of margins. Both teams go after the enemy top laner there and barely being able to get the kill early. Trundle gets so big of a heal off of a dying champion, and that means Inspired's back to full health here after the scrap, getting the Baron on top of it. Look how close this is.
So much of this. This is the later fight that we did have here. So Blabber's going to go through the portal to try to get in behind them, while the rest of Lion are just chasing after Thanatos, who has no ult. So he's going to try to just go in and get this damage down on the Berserker, but he's losing on that side. And over here, Dokla and Inspired are just lasting so long through APA's damage.
And Cloud9 are saying, hey, burst down Dokla before he can stack up his passive here. And then they're chasing Inspired to finish him off, but look, so close. They can't get the kill, and then he gets the big heal. They chase them down. Berserker also, he hits hit with this bubble and then barely can dodge out on the Nami wave as well. And they know the Baron is theirs after that scrap.
To me, so much of the fight, though, was decided before that, with the play from Saint over the wall, gets Blabber incredibly low in the Baron pit, then Blabber tries to retreat out through that Tri-Brush, but Saint is there waiting for him, takes his GA away from him, and Saint got so much done in the early stages of that fight, it created chaos. Sven is trying to run away. Sven dies super early, and he is so much of the threat from Cloud9 on this kite back comp that they're trying to play.
Yeah, in that fight, LYON playing their ranges really well. You know, Ash Arrow from Berserker, stunning up Blabber so they can poke damage, and then slowly moving in. What a tense series, what a tense game. And it is Dragon Soul on the side of Cloud9, but Baron on the side of LYON now after that latest victory.
We have all of the big ticket items, you know, that are already through or are now coming through. APA just completed his death cap. Remember, he has the actualizer as well. So watch out for that second activation of that rock throw, that big rock with the actualizer and the death cap does insane damage.
Hexsoul versus a 3,000 gold lead plus the Baron that you mentioned, Kobe, for the next 75 seconds. But critically, about a minute and a half from now, the Elder Dragon will spawn. And I can't help but feel like this game is going to come down to the battle for that objective. It is desynced from Baron. We're not going to get a trade of super buffs. This is going to be the whole game, it has to feel like.
And Berserker just got his GA, so that is going to be so much more difficult now for C9 as Inspired just walking in very confidently here.
Can't quite get it though.
Oh, that was close. APA though, he has the cleanse on his Talia with the Summoner Spellbook. That's why he didn't feel pressured to need to use the flash. Even if the arrow hit him, he still would have been fine. Less than 60 seconds until the Elder. LYON still have the Baron, so they still control the tempo of the lanes. The map is still very dark for the Cloud9 side as they'll have to approach this bottom side river.
And critically, Flowers, the cooldown on that Ash Arrow is also less than 60 seconds, so that's why he just throws it out there. He's going to have it back up for another attempt as we see the big dragon arriving to the rift shortly. And man, walking through darkness is so scary, but Cloud9 trying to deal with the mid lane pressure first and open up a way in.
And you can see that Inspired, he loves going towards these support items later on in the game. He has the Knife Thou, and it's actually linked onto Dokla here. That is kind of the Bash Bros up at the front. He knows that Dokla is so strong and is trying to help him drain tank.
Okay, Cloud9 trying to back away a little bit now as Dokla goes straight in for APA. The Talia is under pressure, knocked up into the air, and Saint's already got the kill. Blabber's gonna die here second. The Guardian Angel will not protect him for long. Thanatos will die beside him as Inspired continues locking up the Cloud9 jungler. Sven's on the run and barely staying alive. Rebuttal keeps him going for a little bit longer as Berserker has to resurrect into the Guardian Angel, but Dokla is not done. Grim Deliverance will deliver LYON to the nexus of Cloud9.
And it is Big Dokes who finds that pick. He goes on to APA with the dreaded return. His return to the LCS has been glorious, and LYON will march on the Nexus.
They're making their way straight through the enemy base. The Elder itself is not required. A 41-minute battle ends in victory for LYON, and they move to match point.
And what a play from Dokla to finish this one off. Goes in with it. Pretty atypical, but to me that is a nod towards the fact that, you know, we have seen Berserker love playing these hyper carries. We've already seen Lulu, Seraphine, Nami, Karma, a lot of these enchanters coming through, and a lot of times it's LYON playing them. So they're saying, you know what, you can't play enchanter, you can't play this scaling thing. Let's try to push you off it, put Isles on an engaged champ where maybe Vulcan feels he can outperform.
Okay, let's see how it goes then, because Pantheon and Varus, these two have been banned every single game so far this series. Both of them have always been first half of the draft, and that's not changing in Game 4.
Okay, so what about the Rise Anivia question here? Looks like nobody's going to throw any mid lane bans with all of this focus elsewhere and all the fearless champions taken out. Those two definitely very, very high prow. Of course, the Anivia is a really good answer to the Rise, so that's why nobody really jumping on it early.
It is interesting to me how far we've come as far as, you know, early on in the split, it was all about engaged champions. And we talked about this even at the beginning of the season on the dive, where the role quest to me made it so I think enchanters just are better, point blank period, because you get such an injection of gold, and enchanters scale way better than these tank supports. When you're on multiple items, they can truly change the game. And clearly in the finals, I mean, just look at the support champions played, right? You know, 4 out of the 6 are enchanters. We have double enchanter ban here in Game 4. And so we are being pushed towards that. APA going to be crapping this Rise. And like you said, Kobe, we have to kind of expect that Anivia or potentially the Cassio to come out.
Exactly. The two kind of big answers. I think the Anivia is better and stronger with it, but if you are very confident as a Cassiopeia player and the rest of the team is like short range and kind of clumps, then it can always be a good kind of answer pick. Let's see which direction LYON want to go for, because Rise gives you a lot of things.
That's a long way to travel. Shout out to you.
Yeah. Rise gives you a lot of things. It gives you some good clump damage for team fights. It also gives you some side laning pressure to set up for rotating over to those fights. And LYON do opt to go for the Cassio angle into it, plus the Jarvan here, one of the primo jungle picks that can put pressure onto that Rise. The Cataclysm keeping them in there, and then you lay the Miasma inside the Cataclysm, and you are grounded. I'm
kind of thinking we might just get Wukong. Wukong has not yet been played, and is one of those AD junglers that is pretty popular, so would make sense here, and is going to be the pick. And so now, okay, we get Vulcan Bard. This got banned out, I think it was second phase though, last game. Yep. And so now Vulcan is going to be able to play this. They target the enchanters, they ban those out. So I think they're really hoping that they are going to get a range versus melee support matchup and try to use that to abuse it, because such a strength of C9 in playoffs have been Sven and Vulcan creating these massive gold leads. That has not been the story today.
And they should have huge side lane pressure. Bard ults, like Bard can put so much pressure on people's flashes for side laning here. You already started out with the Rise. You have the Bard on top of it now. And clearly, LYON are going front to back. You got a Scion, you're just laying down.
And now you're going to do protection bans for top lane, pretty much guaranteed. You're going to be like Gwen or Fiora or whoever you're thinking about, trying to ban those out. And I'm expecting C9 might just continue throwing more support bans, really try to get an uneven matchup down there on the bot lane. They need to get Sven going. They haven't been able to do that so far this series. At least that's what I'm expecting.
And the Scion also feels even better considering just last game, Inspired played the Trundle. That's one of those typical picks that's really good into Scion to sap his mega tank stats, but just not possible anymore. Yeah, dude, you're really putting brainworms into fans with these jungle words. But you were right. You were right. Your brain was working correctly when it came to the ban predictions.
The voices, the worms, they're telling me the right things.
Sometimes the worms know what they're talking about.
You gotta trust the worms on this one, Flowers.
Yeah, all right. I don't know if I'm going to fully trust the worms, but I'm going to trust the Gwen.
He's got worms in his head.
Hey. Maybe the worms are grubs.
If it works, it works.
Well, the Gwen's banned away, but instead of going after more of the supports, it looks like C9's going to target the other half of the bottom lane, remove the hyper carry Zeri from the pool.
Yeah, they're like, we know you're still going to go for it. Look what they have. They've got a Scion front line already with Cassio Jarvan. You're like, you are building your 5-on-5. And your name is Berserker.
And if you're on C9, Berserker had about 70 pentakills on Zeri while he was on C9, so not going to be giving him that late on into this series.
And the last ban from LYON here will be the Sivir. And where does C9 want to go with the last one? Are we still looking at more AD carry?
I think it's more bot lane, whether it is AD carry or it is going to be support. I think C9 have identified that has been the issue. Their bot lane is struggling. They can't really get online. And APA and Blabber haven't been having a great series. So I think they are going to emphasize that. And you can see on the other side, it is the Sivir ban. So Sivir's being targeted. Rakan's being taken out. That obviously is supposed to be targeting the Xayah-Rakan pairing. So you're taking out all these enchanters. So many of the common pairings are gone. We're going to have to see something new. There's no more champs for Sven left that he has played this far.
Yeah, and there are some enchanters like, Janna or Sona, but those are way less frequently played. If you go Kai'Sa, then we do have lots of scaling as well as dive here follow-up. This is much more follow from the back, just open up, keep your range if they went the other angle, but I guess they're just hovering other possible options for the follow-up. And the Poppy W, okay, maybe try and keep the Wukong at bay.
Yeah, and this is going to be a support Poppy, obviously. That does mean the 2v2 is going to be tough. I do think you are kind of seeding the 2v2 when you're going up against the Bard. Yes, you can have pretty good gank assist. You can try to get in there and make things happen. And you can see Berserker was hovering the 2 picks that they were kind of expecting. Smolder would be pretty hype. I actually feel like Smolder can be pretty good here. Can answer the Jarvan. And, does have good front to back damage as well as some assistance for that dive with your ultimate coming over the top.
And you should be stacking on a Poppy lane. Whatever you're pairing with the Poppy, Smolder should be able to get some stacks.
This is also interesting because this is kind of like a page out of Keen's book. You're going for the Rek'Sai top, Rek'Sai into the Scion. This is something we saw a lot at Worlds. Rek'Sai has been nerfed a couple times since then. It was really this matchup where you wanted to super bully and try to slam home these advantages through your sustain, just constantly chipping and poking and pushing in. But if you do not do that, Rek'Sai is just worth so much less than the Scion later on, so you have to dominate the lane.
And Rek'Sai, Rise both end up with a ton of health. Wukong ends up with plenty of health. And remember that Kai'Sa with Dusk and Dawn, once she evolves, her Void Seeker, once that W goes over 100 AP, you get 3 plasma stacks for landing it. It primes your Dusk Dawn proc. The next 1 auto attack applies the remaining 2 plasma stacks. It's just W auto, boom, plasma detonator. The HP shred is serious on modern day Kai'Sa.
And Rek'Sai doesn't like playing into Poppy teams either. The W is really annoying for the tunnels.
Can't dig a hole.
It's very hard to take tunnels. You know, they're not very fast, and Poppy can always react. So honestly, I think C9 are going to have to put some pressure on some side lanes with this. If they can get some advantages early and put that pressure like we talked about with Ryze and Bard ultimates, and if the Rek'Sai is going to have early pressure, that might be their way to get their advantages and then move in towards the rotations.
So a little update, we are going to have to remake Champ Select and try to blast through that. So basically the players were on the wrong sides. So they were on the side of, like, in the old days, first pick. So I guess they were on the wrong side. It was kind of disjointed there. So are going to have to go back through that one more time to make sure that they are on the right side of the map. You know, not just first pick, last pick, but blue side, red side, as that is obviously changed this year with the new first selection process, as it's called.
Okay, so while they remake that, let's talk about something that we were talking about before we got into Champ Select anyway, which is Cloud9 cleaning up their early game. Now that we've seen the drafts, now that we see what both sides have, how do you think a clean Cloud9 early game looks in this game number 4 to take us to Silver Scrapes?
I think they've got pressure on top side, guaranteed with your Rek'Sai. Have your push up there to allow your jungle to move in and try and get some extra camps. Don't let Inspired scale off of extra camp experience or anything. Steal away a few. And you should have pressure on the other side too. You know, get your Smolder stacking off this Poppy. So if they can win all of these lanes and have pressure that way, try and then take out the heart of LYON, Inspired. If you can get him behind, sometimes you can hope that their shot calling will get worse as a little bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I just want to see from C9 side, Blabber and APA have a more stable early game, right? You cannot be going so high risk, I think, in a game like this after 2 bad early games. LYON, of course, is going to try to do the opposite. They're going to try to emphasize this mid lane matchup with the Cassio for Saint. They're going to be trying to find a lot of early action potentially. You know, if Inspired finds the right angle, he can look for level 3s on Jarvan. Of course, there is a lot of risk there, but he can mix it up. He can try to go for these plays. They have a game to give, and they are on match point.
Yeah, and everybody is going to be kind of ignoring top lane. So everyone's going to have the same focus.
Sion versus Rek'Sai?
Yeah,
including the top laners, so also be watching elsewhere.
Yeah, they're going to be watching the other side of the map. So everybody's going to have the same focus. So it's also going to be about marking enemies and keeping really good track of enemy jungle. You know, Wukong, you have a lot longer before you can have the impactful gank. You need your level 6 to bring the CC to the table. Yeah, you can bring some damage earlier, but generally you're going to favor some early plays with Jarvan, having more options for some of these ganks and for putting that pressure.
And I like the point you mentioned, obviously, that you can stack off this Poppy. It is such a difference maker. I played a lot of Smolder. You know, when you are playing against a melee champion that does not have snap engage, that is the most ideal champions to stack off of, right? When you're playing against range champions, you lose the trades. When you're playing against Blitz or Nautilus, you can't risk getting hooked. When you're playing against Poppy, Tahm Kench, Braum, champions like this that are much less threatening on the hard engage, you walk forward, you get way more additional stacks. When you get the first 25, all of a sudden you're AoE stacking the wave. When you hit 125, all of a sudden you're stacking off the enemy players while you're hitting the wave. So, you know, it really does start to accelerate, and I do think that Sven here has been set up for success. C9 clearly came into this 4 bans towards bot lane, really want to do well in this 2v2, and I think the pressure is on Sven and Vulcan. They need to step up because your whole pick and ban strategy was to get you this kind of matchup. You gotta perform, or their split is over.
Yeah, and the pressure on Vulcan's Bard is going to be there. Last year, remember, Busio's Bard was always the one that came up when we're talking about NA supports. Busio's Bard, obviously incredible, but Vulcan's was also really, really impressive. A 99 out of 100 is still really good. It's just if there's a 100, that's not the highest grade in the class, right? So that's what I want to see from Vulcan. I need to see a 99 on this Bard report card because these Tempered Fates need to be on point. The bindings, we got to be trapping champions together every single time. I want to see this pick have the effectiveness that Cloud9 drafted it for.
Lock in finals, and Cloud9 are being pushed to the brink, Flowers. They do have to perform right now if they want to push us to a game number 5. Synergy on the bottom lane looking good already. I like those chromas on the skins. looking very close here, trying
Both
to
Christmas themed.
Yeah, trying to match the theme down there. They're in sync.
We got the hot cocoa skin and we got the reindeer skin.
Yeah, I actually don't even remember what the Bard things are normally called because I just call them hot cocos because everyone uses that skin.
Yeah. What is the Skinergy looking like for Berserker and Isles? I didn't notice.
Well, we'll see that here in a little bit, but right now we have Kangas standing by for an interview with I Will Dominate.
Thank you very much, Dom. Backs against the wall here, and it's been fun following your journey with Blabber, 2 junglers. What were you talking about with him between games?
Just creating stability in the early game. I feel like a lot of these games have had funny things happen early. There was an invade, and where we invaded them in game number 2, and then in game number 3, they invaded us, and I feel like the games just felt kind of like off balance from the beginning. So for me personally, it's just been about control the game, because when we're in these neutral states, we are stacking Drakes. Like we had Soul in the last game. So LYON's a team that likes to play slow, and I feel like sometimes we're trying to aggress too much or like capitalize on it too much, and I think that if we are just happy with the wins that we're getting and we're opting into these types of games, I think we'll be fine.
Well, I see an invade here coming in from Inspired. Was this on your radar with you, Blabber, talking about going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Inspired is smart about. He's really good at pathing. That's like his biggest strength, and I think that he's just the type of player where if he gets control of a game, he won't make a mistake. He won't like int the game at any moment, so we just have to be like comfortable with these types of trades.
All right, cool. Well, it looks like they might just run into each other here. So thank you so much, Dom. I'm going to throw back to the casters for the action.
Thank you, Kangas. I want to highlight 2 wards that are helping out with that. It was this mid lane ward.
Behind him.
Hold on, Inspired is already making the play happen. The tackle into the wall is there, and it's first blood, and it's on Berserker 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the game.
And we got to catch back up on all of that jungle information because it was hugely won by LYON due to those early wards that I had just highlighted. They had perfect information on Blabber because both Dokla and Saint use their trinket wards to get this extra jungle advantage of information for Inspired, which he then uses to split the map against the Smolder lane that, guess what? You built everything, all your hopes around here. So it's just really good team coordination. LYON using their trinket wards, to then be able to go split the map, counter jungle into bot lane gank, and it is a beautiful opening here from LYON.
I mean, it's just a disaster already for Cloud9, let's be honest.
In 5. I'm gonna go. Can you go?
Yeah.
My E's in 3.
Yeah, go.
Look at bot, maybe.
Yeah.
Go bot.
I'm looking board, yeah.
Oh, you
give me.
B?
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Really good.
I don't have a ward. Yeah, and of course, he's just predicting the flash there, so, he's covering the other possibility, and they do get the kill.
And look at that. That is some proxying going on for Dokla. He's cleared out the wave, and he's just going to execute now and then go back to base. So he's saying, you know what? You drafted for this early game advantage. This is the best possible thing you can do as a Scion against Rek'Sai. You lose early, you lose all the trades, but you outscale so hard. So great. You fight the minions, I'll fight the minions. I'll see you in 20 minutes, buddy.
And I just want to always give top laners so much credit for doing early jungle wards. Because sometimes top laners can be stingy with their trinket ward timers.
You were looking right at me. What's up with that?
Top laners. Well, Flowers is a jungler. We're 2v1 up here.
Come on, buddy. Sometimes those brushes are just a little too dark.
But yeah, Dokla took the time to invest the ward into the Krugs, and that gave Inspired full confidence for the bottom lane play.
Now he's got the confidence for the mid lane play as well. APA might live to see another day, but he loses half HP and the flash, so the pressure is still on.
I mean, everything is just going so well for LYON. Cloud9 put their whole setup into getting this winning 2v2. They talk about, Kangas is interviewing Dom, and Dom is talking about, yeah, we really want stability in the early game. As we're hearing that, Inspired is stealing away both of his camps, killing his bot lane that you drafted for the winning bot lane, and your top lane is getting proxied on, so Thanatos isn't even getting the winning matchup that you drafted for there either. So LYON strategically have just felt like they're on another level today.
Yeah, Inspired looking stable. Very, very stable in this series. And in the previous game, we did bring up the all-time head-to-head between Inspired and Blabber previous to this series, 6-1 in favor of Inspired.
How about that Inspired win rate all-time in NA? Quoting on 70% win rate. He's played with EG, with Fly, now with LYON. 5 titles, 3 MVPs, a bunch of first-team All-Pros. This guy is just making everyone he plays with better, and it is undeniable with how many comms listen-ins we have heard. People talk a lot about, yeah, Inspired makes team better, he's a good shot caller. We are listening to it. He is playing the whole team. He is telling them exactly what he wants from them, exactly how he wants them to play it out, and it is working.
Yeah, I gotta say, our production team has been smurfing it, getting a lot of the inside info for us.
Inspired's of production.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's funny, like talking about Inspired doing all this shot calling, kind of being the puppet master for everybody else on the team. Because the other person that comes to mind when I think about that, if you go back to the old school original roster of Cloud9, people always talked about Hyde and how he would do that type of shot calling for the whole team, how he would be the one masterminding all of the plans. And now, up against this modern iteration of C9, it's Inspired pulling all the strings.
I actually really love that point because shot calling is something that I think, oh, Thanatos is going to look for a kill.
Yeah, forces a flash at least.
Yeah, going to be able to trade that flash. Dokla knew if he gets too low, you could be executed there. As Sven getting incredibly low, barrier has to be popped. Yeah, that hurts. I mean, Thanatos knows he needs to create action, right? This is just not a matchup you want to just farm in, but Dokla still has his TP and his ult, so he's just going to TP right back, be full health. And Thanatos wants to proxy, but does take a couple tower shots. He'll at least pull the wave, so it's going to stack and push towards him. So instead, I think he's just going to base. That is a clever little play, something that you love to see from top laners. He wants to base, has no TP, so Dokla's going to try to hunt and cancel that now.
Whoop. Okay. Does at least cancel the recall.
Well played by both sides, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting though. Back to the shot calling point, I feel like that's something we used to talk about so much, with High, with Aframu, with a lot of these guys who are the legends of the old LCS. And it is a good point that Inspired, I think, is making a name for himself in the same way.
Okay, nice stun to the wall there from Vulcan. Plenty of CC onto Isles, but not enough to threaten anything lethal. Vulcan and APA now backing away from the Miasma. Inspired is nearby. The Jarvan and the Wukong, both junglers, level 6 here, despite the fact that Inspired made the early play in the bottom lane that got LYON their lead. Blabber has not fallen behind this game, and I want to see if this Wukong can find ways to get involved himself now that he has the Cyclone unlocked.
Yeah, they do help for the mid lane push out there and grab the turret plate, but it costs a flash from Vulcan on bottom side, so we'll see if that ends up becoming a problem. Another wave pulled here. You want to basically get them to focus on one minion so yours dies first, and you want it in towards the middle of the lane too, so that they are arriving at similar times rather than being bunched up and yours arriving first. So pretty much everybody trying to do that. You always want to min-max, burn a couple extra minions, deny a little bit, and we'll see about the next consecutive play here because both junglers, once again, into their re-clears, but the Scuttle Crab is spawning towards the Dragon. Bottom side Scuttle Crab here, and we'll see if they overcommit. Inspired actually just clearing up to his top side, and there's a red ward at his Gromp that I believe Thanatos left behind. We'll see whichever way Inspired does go. He's probably going to go over some vision from C9 because C9 do... Oh, that ward by mid lane just drops. So now he can sneak through a little bit. And
there's no flash on APA, so they were looking to see if there's an angle. APA is playing very far back, though, so he's just going to get the push, be able to move over towards that skull, towards the dragon. And it's a good look towards the APA, but this time, not going to get caught without that flash.
And I like you can see there, as Inspired approaches the banana brush, he just immediately drops Golden Aegis just in case Blabber is waiting in that brush. He can slow him down and potentially set up a play as Sven is under pressure. Berserker here with a killer instinct. Mom roars through, though, making sure Sven doesn't drop too low. Inspired, nice use of the Demacian standard to interrupt the recall from Blabber. Just kind of rock his tempo there a little bit. And now Inspired will begin the first Drake. Cloud Drake does a lot of DPS, though, so generally if somebody else is in the neighborhood, that can get a bit dicey.
Yeah, I think LYON probably wanted a little bit more out of their attempt at Sven, because Sven held his flash. He just uses his ult in response. Inspired, though, is still sticking around by this dragon, even though his mid laner is, in base looking for teleports. I think Cassio just pinging she wants to walk, so...
Yep. And Inspired, he takes the blast cone over the wall because he knows he can just use the EQ to get back to safety. There's not really an opportunity to steal something away there, so C9's going to be happy taking that first Drake.
Yep, going to be feeling good about that. Thanatos did just proxy one wave base. He's going to be working towards the Titanic. Almost guaranteed that it's pretty much the only thing people are rushing these days. But again, Dokla's gotten through that tough early game. He's at the point where you have enough levels, you have enough armor, you are chilling, and you're just killing minions and scaling up. So Thanatos, you can find effectiveness in the later stages of the game on Rek'Sai, but it's just way more difficult, right? You need to be able to get back in on one of these carries, find someone like Berserker and put pressure on him. That's the onus that is on you as the Rek'Sai, where Sion can kind of just walk forward and create space for the Cassio, and that's good enough.
Yeah, you look at Rek'Sai's skill set in big fights, and you're like, well, she doesn't die. Well, Sion also doesn't die, but he creates a ton of disruption and this just massive brick wall that nobody can get through. So Dokla set up in a good spot here.
Meanwhile, despite Isles despite Vulcan dying in the earlier play with the jungle invade and wraparound bot, Sven is still stacking, and that was one of the main goals here. He's still been able to CS, he's still been able to stack very effectively. He has 80 stacks at 10 minutes 45 seconds, which is a pretty healthy stacking pace, I think. And seems like they still have their game plan on the correct direction here for Cloud9. They've got their Dragon taken with first Drake here, Cloud Drake, so everything is okay despite the very worrisome early start to the game.
Yeah, and we'll see how Sven can accelerate, because I think his pace is not super fast, but it's totally fine. It accelerates every time you get a new breakpoint, right? It's just easier and easier to stack. And once you get towards that Essence Reaver, you have infinite mana, you can constantly get higher and higher CDR and look to really ramp that up. So that's exactly what he's going to be trying to do. There's a lot of pressure on him as kind of one of those big, consistent damage dealers who's supposed to be built to deal with Dokla.
So one of the big differences in the current game state is items are fully completed for the mid laner and jungler of LYON, but not of C9. The Rod of Ages is stacking for Saint, and the Sundered Sky is completed for Inspired. So these are some pretty big power spikes compared to just the components still in the inventories of their Cloud9 counterparts. Thank you, Isaac. The Kraken Slayer also done for Berserker's Kai'Sa compared to still just components for Sven's Smolder. So even though that gold lead for LYON doesn't look like anything you're going to write home about, just 500, it's in the right places to create pretty big power spikes.
All right, Blabber going to go in. He's got the ward to see the red buff. We get a good old-fashioned fight on the smite, and he wins it.
Blabber gets it, but meanwhile, here in the bottom lane, Vulcan is the target. Sven and Vulcan staying close enough to their turret that LYON will not be able to finish off this kill.
Stacking a lot here with these fights. They're scrapping over and over. And again, with the champion select here, we're thinking he's going to have a lot of stacks. Sven continues to keep it up.
And even in the team fights, in the 5v5s, there's 3 melee champs, right? So if you are having these standoffs where you can hit Qs on multiple members, Ws on multiple members, ults across the whole team, that is such a big injection of stacks. You can see Thanatos is going to be constantly trying to heal up. Bramble is so popular for Silent in this matchup, but it never feels effective because all the healing is done while he is not hitting you. All the healing is done by the Rek'Sai while he is burrowed, where the Grievous is not actually applied. I obviously understand the thought process behind it, but it just never feels like it gets a lot of value to me.
Yeah, Bramble Vest having the disadvantage compared to the other cheap Grievous component items where those, you get to make the active decision, I will hit you, I will cast a spell on you, and that will proc Grievous wounds, whereas Bramble, you're kind of at the mercy of the other guy needing to bonk you first. So Thanatos is going to get another wave crashed into the turret as Blabber puts in the work here on the grubs. And I feel like normally we see whichever side gets the first dragon loses out on the grubs. This time, though, C9 is going to get all 3 grubs and the first Drake, so they're feeling good about the neutrals.
It actually got really close, though, because Blabber didn't have smite. He had already used it on the earlier one, so Isles almost stole that last grub with an auto, which would have been pretty frustrating for Blabber.
That would have been pretty cringe.
It's key for Blabber because he's got enough for Trinity Force on his back too, so really nice back timing now. Trinity Force is expensive, but he does have it. So Wukong with Trinity Force completed, with Flash, with ult ready. Blabber is now ready to make some moves on the map. Let's see if the Monkey King can do it, because we're already getting different lane assignments, with Sven getting rotated into mid lane after his Essence Reaver completion.
EPA now going to get jumped on by Isles and Berserker. Another Void Seeker tags him, but APA is still fine. Still does not have his Rod of Ages completed. Saint's already got a couple of stacks on his, so APA is going to be behind in that department as Isles and Berserker are still looking for more pressure onto the tier 1 turret. They might just look to go for the dive. Flash into the tackle. Keeper's Verdict knocking APA straight up into the air. The greed was his demise. He wanted to stick around. He didn't respect Berserker and Isles enough, and LYON get their kill.
And they always do this. He's always Inspired, that is, trading. Yeah, Dragon is going to come up in a couple seconds, so they're already making the move up to the top side. Inspired didn't even get there in time because Isles and Berserker take care of it, but they play to the top side. They're very comfortable dropping the first couple of dragons. And look at what your reward is. Berserker gets the tower. He is 1.2k ahead on this Kai'Sa. Huge, huge threat.
If we get a replay, I also want to get a replay of not even the dive, because I think that was actually less important, of when APA took a lot of damage and lost Ghost. Because to me, that was where the mistake was. Blabber was already on the other side of the map. They were already going to be playing towards Dragon. You know you are a weak side, and he was going in for these trades and lost 30, 40, maybe even more % of his health with that trade and lost his Ghost. The dive, there's not really he can anything he can do to survive that besides just not being there. But I feel like if he's at full health, he can maybe make something happen with that outplay.
Well, 1.7 thousand, 1.8K gold lead for LYON now. Feels pretty good for them, but C9 do have both of the first 2 Drakes. APA finally stacking that Rod of Ages, but it is multiple stacks behind. And here's the replay of how he lost the HP.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you see them both. You're in their face, and almost 50% of his HP. He did have the potions running, so he obviously regained a little bit of that, but that was playing with fire.
Okay, the dive onto Dokla. The Scion is very tanky. Can C9 cut all the way through the health bar? Both Cyclones already used. Thanatos has to pop the ulti to drop the turret aggro. That is one of the strengths of the Rek'Sai, being able to do that with the turret dives. Meanwhile, over in mid lane, LYON looking for some pressure of their own. Vulcan's Tempered Fate not going to find a target there, but it does buy enough time for Sven and Vulcan to survive.
And guess what? Where's Berserker? He's making money. Berserker on the bottom.
Just loves money.
The bottom side of the map. Guess what? That's another turret into that Kaisa, guys.
Yeah, that is such a problem for C9. 1.6K ahead now. I mean, Sven has farmed well. Even on farm, you know, they died to that one gank, but so much gold going over to Berserker because of the dive top that gets a kill, then the tower bot that gets all of that additional gold in his pocket, and now he has the Kraken and the Rage Blade done. 2 items very quickly here for Berserker, plus the tier 2 boots already upgraded.
So now is the critical point, because you're dropping some objectives and you're giving them to Cloud9 in the early stages to try and get to these moments, these breakpoints, the actual completion of the items in these. Oh, brush camp.
Okay, APA, he smelled something afoot. He does detect it before the play gets made, as now Inspired takes a little bit of damage. Vulcan has to go on a magical journey, trying to get away, flashes away from Berserker. Now Inspired down to 1/3. But there's not enough firepower from C9 to try to finish him off. Realm Warp is going to send Thanatos forward, but he immediately has to turn back around. Tackle into the wall from the Poppy as Inspired goes in towards Blabber, who wants to look for Berserker. Damage from APA, but Berserker flashes out, and Blabber's going to be the only death here so far. The Rift Herald drives into Berserker, but it doesn't have enough horsepower. Vulcan hops out. He wants to get the kill, but he goes on a magical journey right back away as Isles falls to Thanatos. It's an absolute madhouse here in the bottom lane, and only 1 dead on either side.
And the entire time, it was a 4v5. Wait, Saint's not done.
We're not done just yet. Nice stun onto the minion there from Vulcan. Thanatos still waiting, but he has almost no HP. Sven has arrived into the fight. The Tempered Fate from Vulcan locking up the enemy. Cassiopeia stunned into the wall as Thanatos has the knock-up and a killing spree. Sven takes Inspired low. Not low enough just yet. Magical Journey for the flash follow. Inspired wants to lock him down here with a Cataclysm. C9 doing plenty of damage, and Inspired dies. C9 are coming to life.
Vulcan heard you talking about Busio Bard. What about the Vulcan Bard? He is going crazy.
Okay, Dokla's made his way in now, though. Berserker nearly kills Vulcan with a Cathian Rain, but they want to turn their attention back over onto Sven instead. Dokla gets the shutdown, and Vulcan barely gets away. Thanatos using his network of tunnels like a pinball machine, and he gets out.
What a scramble! I mean, first we had Scion split pushing, so then he joined Waylay with his ultimate. Let's take a look at the flank, though, from the Wukong. Look at the minimap at the moment. They're kiting back right now. LYON here, you see the channel on the Poppy ult. They knock back the Rise, or they knock back the Rek'Sai here, and then Rise will just Realm Warp him in at the time that Blabber goes for this. He also summons that Herald that you see on the screen here, which Vulcan is then going to use to long chase this and knock up Berserker, who just got chunked. So you get Vulcan going through, you get some Rift Herald knock-up damage. All of this, though, doesn't really result in anything for C9 until the follow-up play.
And critically, there was no Cyclone for Blabber on that flank because they used it on the dive way back when they killed Sion on the top side. So they were missing a lot of those critical tools.
And then that's the follow-up play, the chase down that results in Vulcan punishing them. He hit the Bard stun, he got the Bard tunnel.
And this is the last time these LYON players won a tier 1 tourney. For some of them, it has been quite a long time. For some of them, it has been never. You know, Saint has never won a tier 1 tourney. Isles, last time he won was back in OPL in 2020. Dokla obviously winning a bit more recently, Inspired winning just last time. But for a lot of these players, it has been a long time coming, and they are hungry for one of these wins.
Well, they're only 1 game away from taking that win here, and they are about to grab their first Drake of the game. They will stop C9 stacking towards Soul. And once again, fellas, this is the 3rd game out of 4 where 20 minutes hits the clock, and we're a couple hundred gold apart.
It is crazy how close this is. Inspired trying to change that as they are looking for Blabber, and Isles is behind him.
Now C9 reinforcing their lines. Sven fires the snot bubble in, just stacking up a little bit more. Flap's going to do the same. He's at 199 stacks on the Smolder, 26 away from that execute.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to highlight after that crazy long fight in the bot lane. Smolder is hitting you with ability after ability after ability. That is accelerating his stacking pace. He's going to be at 225 easily before the next dragon here. So that is when you really turn online. And when you get that rapid fire in and you're 225, you can have these standoffs where you are just Q poking with rapid fire over and over and over and forcing them to be the ones to engage.
And his positioning will be critical. He does not have flash. If you get hit with a Jarvan EQ or Poppy flashes on you, then you're going to get plasma stacks on you. And guess what? Berserker is coming for your head. So
not even Mom can save you.
Not even Mom can save you. Sometimes you can if you have 225 stacks too. That helps out. We'll see.
Oh boy, Saint's going to be your target here as he throws out the miasma. Blabber cannot close enough distance in time. Wow, this is a lot of teleports. It's looking like a Christmas tree up here in top lane as C9 sends the whole crew. Vulcan arrived even with the Summoner's Spellbook to make sure that he could join the fight. C9 continue backing away for now. They don't want to allow LYON to get any kind of a pincer attack. Defensive Tempered Fate coming out from Vulcan, but now he's in danger. Tries to get away through the magical journey, but it ain't gonna happen. Make it a 2 for nothing
Baron.
for LYON, as Baron is on the map. Disaster for C9, and LYON find exactly what they wanted.
The CC team was perfect there. Isles finds the engage, and then Blabber tries to turn around for the re-engage, but he's in the miasma, and he gets hit by the miasma. He can't get out of that. Then he's hit by the petrifying gaze. He's stunned up. He's knocked down. C9's 3 members trying to make something happen here, but Inspired is just going to finish it. They're looking for Sven.
There's the Keeper's Verdict immediately with Killer Instinct right after it from Berserker, and Sven's falls. C9, another punish from LYON. Another mistake from a C9 player results in another objective taken by LYON. That gold lead that didn't exist just a minute ago is now plus 3K for the LYON squad.
That is huge. I mean, C9, they're struggling. They're trying to look for something. Maybe we get distinct recalls, stop someone in the aftermath, but they just can't. Isles here, he put that ward. He walks back and he waits for Dokla and Saint to be able to follow. And then immediately flashes onto Vulcan, makes it look so easy. He's like, what are they doing walking against this wall? This is my territory. And Isles here starts it out. Wait a second, bottom side now. They're going to make play.
Yeah, they want to look for Saint yet again, but a flash away from the Cassiopeia keeps him alive for now. Dokla and Inspired ready to back up their mid laner as Thanatos is down to below 50% HP. Now Inspired re-engaging after the Rek'Sai. Dokla creating a lot of space here on the front line, and C9 are in full retreat. Another snot bubble from Sven to try to slow everybody down. Realm Warp for safety. Blabber with a defensive Cyclone means Inspired has to use his flash getting back away. LYON wanted to play, but they couldn't find the angle. Blabber cast the second Cyclone there to chip away a little bit of Dokla's HP. Less than 2 minutes on the clock until the Drake. Lots of skills being spent down here. Critically, a couple of summoner spells as well. The biggest one being the flash for both Saint and Inspired.
Exactly, those missing flashes. So even though no one goes down, C9 do get out. They look for the aggressive play. I love the disengage Bard ultimate there from Vulcan, playing that well with the Tempered Fate, being able to get his team out, exfiltrating the hot zone with the Realm Warp, with the Magical Journey, with all the tools at their disposal. Sven still very close to this third item here. That is going to be huge for him.
Yeah, rapid fire, then you can poke. It kind of changes how you can actually play the game a little bit. Maybe then they can soften up the front line and it won't be as threatening when they fully commit. The extra range goes a long way with this champion.
This one's another nail biter, boys.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I'm loving every second of this finals.
This has been by far the best series of our whole lock-in. I don't particularly think it's close.
Like this, a lot of 3-0s.
Yeah, this has just been.
Cloud9 was 3-0 in a lot of teams early on.
Absolutely a great contest between these two, and C9 would love to take it to a game 5. C9, though, has got to get through a very fierce LYON squad. We've talked so much about how they've leveled up throughout playoffs, and I just have to reiterate it again. It was a team that people expected, that I expected, to need time to warm up over the year, to find their tempo, their pace, their synergy together. And it seems like the little bit of a break they had between Swiss and playoffs was all the time they needed, because they're looking clean.
I completely agree. I mean, I'll eat my humble pie on that one too. You know, I had them power ranked way lower than they're obviously going to end up. You know, I thought it was going to take them time to get going as well, but LYON has just been incredible.
Okay, Dragon started up by Lion. We talked about how it's big to have the Smolder 225 for the next Dragon fight, but even with that secured, C9 does not want to risk it here. So the second Hextech Drake goes the way of Lion, and looks like they will not be able to secure the blue buff from the enemy jungle at the same time, but they're fine with that.
Crazy stat. So since Double Limb has been introduced in the LCS, a team from the lower bracket has never won. This would be the first time that has happened. Lion here are on match point, are up 2K gold, are in a position to do something that has never been done in their league before.
And they are close. You can kind of feel it here, the tide turning in Lion's favor. Can Cloud9 pull out all the stops? They have to channel their energy now, hovering this Rise split push at the moment. You see Blabber here trying to hover for him. He does get visual.
Okay, Isles with the tackle into the wall, but nobody's there to follow it up. APA exhausted, knocked up into the air by the Keeper's Verdict. Blabber's got to be careful trying to get away from this one, but Inspired chases after him with the dunk over the wall. That's Jungler down on the C9 side as Inspired gets back away, and Mom won't do a lot. Thanatos needs more damage to find the kill on Isles, but he does not have it. The Execute won't do it. The tunnel over the wall to try to escape. Thanatos on the run, but Berserker's got that killer instinct. Lions AD carries on a rampage.
You can hover the split push, but Lions just send everyone. They run you right over. So many extra kills going through, and now they're blowing the game open. Berserker is solo pushing the bot wave afterwards. This Kai'Sa is a problem.
It is just so impressive how decisive they are being. Clearly the call is we are going no matter what. It looked like Isles is there so early. Is he really going to be able to stall enough time? But Dokla sends the ult. Isles uses a spellbook exhaust. He stuns him into the wall. He knocks them up. He buys time for everyone to arrive and to pile in. And all of a sudden, all of the Lion members are there, and C9 are sent scattered to the winds.
Lion never hesitate because they are all on the same page. They're all listening to Inspired. We hear it so many times on every listen-in, every comm, and they immediately go for it. They full send. They're rewarded again. This gold lead is 3K, so there are still rays of hope for Cloud9 if they can try and utilize, Bard ult, blow some flashes, try and cook something here. The rapid fire is done for Sven, so maybe they can poke and earn themselves a little bit of a health lead before one of these quick engages goes off, but that's very difficult.
The gold lead's 3K, and 2,000 of it is on Berserker. I also want to point out his Kai'Sa build. Kai'Sa's one of those champions that can kind of just pick up any random object in the garage and put it in her build. She has all sorts of options. Berserker's not going for really any of the AP options just besides the Ginsus this game. Instead, opting for more attack speed, opting for more damage, and it's because he has the ability to fire onto Thanatos and Blabber and APA, and he's jumping in again. Thanatos his target this time as the damage just pours through, and the Rek'Sai can't do anything. Meanwhile, C9 can barely knock Dokla below half HP. Lion just walking away with that free kill.
And this is the thing that makes the gold lead lie to you a little bit, is that Dokla is worth so much more than Thanatos at this point. On one side, Dokla is just absorbing all of the damage, forcing the flash out of Sven, and on the other, Thanatos is just getting killed off so quickly.
Dokla still alive for now, very low. Does not want to attempt too much more against the execute threshold of the Smolder, but Lion are sending everybody except for Dokla up towards the Baron pit. They know they've still got another 20 seconds before Thanatos is back alive, and even once he respawns, look at the teleport timer. It's in black and white, so it's hard to tell, but there's still a lot more than that 10-second death timer on it, so it's not possible for him to immediately join. APA's got to be careful here. Down to 60% HP, does not get tagged by the Void Seeker, and C9 walk it off.
Isles doing his best acting over there by the Baron. Come on in!
We're hitting it, I promise.
We're for sure doing this! But despite the acting there, it doesn't actually bait Cloud9 in. I do want to take a moment, though, because Isles on this Poppy, so many snap engages have been really good for him. He was the one who actually got that plasma applied to Thanatos, the Rek'Sai on the top side of the fight, with another very quick engage on support. Poppy has been making lots of plays, and this is one of the players that is not a star on Lion. This is one of the players where everyone was like, oh yeah, they bought Inspired and Berserker back, and Saint was already good, but Isles was kind of an afterthought. And he has definitely had a huge impact in this game.
I mean, they have been winning the 2v2, and it's not just because of Berserker. Isles looking again.
Yeah, he wants that tackle. Vulcan gets away through the magical journey. Thanatos is going to be your target, but Sven also gets caught here by the decimating smash. Vulcan ends up locking up Sven, and now the Smolder is grounded. Another smash is going to knock him up into the air, but Mom comes in for the counterattack. Berserker's into the back line. He finds the kill into Sven, and he's going to get even more now. A double kill for Berserker, and he'll resurrect right after the fact. APA might have killed Isles, but he's got to try to get away. The Realm Warp is canceled by Miasma. A double kill for Saint, and LYON is going to march it down mid lane.
The Bartle from Vulcan catches Sven, and Dokla does not hesitate, flashes in, takes him out. LYON have done it.
LYON starting off strong here at the beginning of 2026. Their Swiss stage leveling up so much as they've made their way into playoffs. They had to run the gauntlet in finals weekend on Friday, on Saturday, and now against favorite C9 on Sunday. They will show that they deserve to represent North America at first stand. They will knock out the #1 team in C9, and LYON are your LCS lock-in champions!
And well-deserved through the lower bracket with back-to-back-to-back elimination series. They come out, they change their draft, they use flex picks all over the place. Huge confidence in each other as teammates. They prove any doubters wrong, and they take the lock-in championship.
The first ever Tier 1 title there for Saints. The first since 2020, since back in the OPL for Isles, and the first time Isles had ever even made an LCS Finals after having been in the pro career for so long. Achieving this here today with LYON, they have done it.
The trophy raise